focused a lot of our attention on, which not only include Capitol Police, but you look at the FBI and Department of Homeland Security, who knew what and when. But in all of that, we saw that there were no significant changes made within the U.S. Capitol Police after January 6th that showed me that they were serious about changing their security posture. There was a lot of covering up. There was a lot of scapegoating going on. And so there, even within the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've made the statement, we need to continue probing deeply into the U.S. Capitol Police and into the leadership, because there's a big lack of oversight right now with them. Look, the Inspector General is not as independent as people think they are, because this is one of the few inspector generals that has no oversight, and they're hired and fired by the people that they're actually overseeing. And there's no whistleblower protection for Capitol Police officers. And in fact, these latest incidents were brought to my attention by a few of the Capitol Police officers who, really requested anonymity because they know that they have no protections, but they thought at least I, being the one who's led most of the probe into the Capitol Police and the security failures there, that I ought to know what is still happening. And I think this is showing there's been no significant improvement. In fact, maybe even a degradation, that somebody armed could get into the Capitol during these important incidents when the president himself is in the building.
Goodness.
Wow. That is something. So let me just follow up on the January 20th episode, which is a long time ago. We're just starting to get some sense of what happened. Can you tell us what the officers told you about what happened that day, whether someone walked around a magnetometer or something?
Well, there was a couple of things that was brought to my attention, and we're still trying to find out, how much there is to it. And of course, without the committee that I previously had not engaged, I've lost the ability to do some of the probing. But what I was told is that there was someone who was escorted around a magnetometer who turned out to have a firearm with them. Now, I've had some tell me that it was not verified, but that person may have been in the area that President Trump was in on January 20th. Within the same room. And so that's highly concerning. One, that someone would be armed. Two, that they may have been escorted around a magnetometer.
Yeah, important.
It's terrifying to think. And as far as we know right now, with both of these instances, it doesn't seem like it was malintent with respect to committing harm against the President of the United States, but you never know when that could possibly happen. Was there a breakdown in communication between security at the Capitol and Secret Service? Because I would think that with layers of protection and redundancy, at least Secret Service would have picked up on this at the time?
Secret Service knew. They rely heavily on the security of the U.S. Capitol Police in an instance like this, where the inauguration was inside, and then we had the State of the Union address, both being in the Capitol. So the Secret Service, yes, they're there and they're engaged. They're sweeping the building. But when it comes to the personal security, who's getting in, who doesn't, that's really left up to the U.S. Capitol Police. And so they rely heavily on the Capitol Police in these instances. And, Capitol Police have some level of authority. They can identify someone to go around the magnetometers. Obviously, we do because we're wearing congressional pins. Members of Congress can get around there, but our staff can't. They're not authorized to go around the magnetometers, and I think it's very limited of who they're going to allow to go around there. Obviously, Capitol Police officers are, but I think the probe needs to look in who this person was and who allowed them to get in armed, because what I understand is there was somebody either within Capitol Police with somebody with a level of authority that could authorize it.
Wow, that's important. Sir, you not only reminded us that maybe the Capitol wasn't as secure as it be, but your final report also pointed out that there were some communication gaps between the Secret Service and the Capitol Police in earlier episodes. One of those, the January 6th day when the pipe bombs were discovered. You continue to follow this and dig on this. You're not taking no for an answer. I understand the FBI may have turned over some documents recently to the Judiciary Committee. Do you know anything about that? Where are we on getting any closer to what happened with those pipe bombs?
We're getting more information. Yes, the Department of Justice is cooperating, which is a great thing. But there's still certain hoops you have to go through, right? Yeah. There is a separation of powers, and so to get information, at least when Chairman Jordan and I send a letter over to the Department of Justice, they at least answer it and say, okay, if you want these documents, you have to specify this, or we may need a subpoena for it. So they're working with us. They're staying within the boundaries of the law and separation of powers, and so that's encouraging. But there is a lot of information that we need to derive out of the information they give us. And I keep going back to the report that the FBI IG sent out about confidential human resources right near the end of last year, where they identified that they had several, I think over 30 confidential human resources embedded in the crowds there on January 6th, and even some of the extremist groups that were there. And my question is, and this is where I want some follow-up, is not only who these informants were, but more importantly, what intelligence did the FBI gain from these embedded agents? Did they know that this was coming? And if not, why not? But I can assume that they got some valuable intelligence. And what did the FBI do with that intelligence? Did they inform the Capitol Police? Did they inform Secret Service? What did they do with that intelligence? And so this kind of goes back into that communications area, but also, as we saw in our investigation, there were massive failures in several agencies. But then there was this huge cover-up by most of them to try to cover themselves.
Yeah, it took your relentless work to get that information out. Really important.
Yeah, and I think Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino are going to have a lot of questions and uncovering to do when it comes to those confidential human sources. I want to stay on the January 6th conversation for a moment. President Trump trying to revoke and basically nullify a lot of these pardons that were signed by President Biden, or maybe signed by a machine by President Biden. Depending on what happens with that, because President Trump will probably send it all the way up to the flagpole to the Supreme Court. But what do you anticipate should or could happen for these folks that are no longer pardoned, at least?
It's interesting that, first of all, that just blanket pardons were handed out, which to me is an admission of some level of guilt. And I've advocated, as you know, in our last report, I did not claim anybody committed a crime, but I did say there's enough evidence that that there should be investigated by some of the members, and one in particular, Liz Cheney, on the select committee because of her back channel communications with Cassidy Hutchinson without her attorney present. And so we made a recommendation for the Department of Justice should look into this. And obviously, with a blanket pardon, they could still look into it, but she couldn't be held accountable. My interest, though, was if they are going to be pre-pardoned, I would really be interested in talking to other members and staff members of the Select Committee, because we're still looking for a significant number of documents and videos that have seemed to disappear, and somebody knows what happened to them and where they are. But if those pre-pardons are reversed by the Supreme Court, then that really opens it one way opens a door and another way it closes. I mean, right now with the pardon, I don't think anyone can plead the Fifth Amendment, right? But they could still be held in contempt of Congress. So that kind of opens a door for getting information. But if we'll see what plays out with this, and we'll adjust our strategy going forward if we're given the authority like we had before to pursue the Select Committee on January 6th and the investigation, which I think is extremely important to do, then that we'll set a strategy going forward then.
Yeah, and one thing we know of, when you set your mind to something, you stay on it. The work you did, peeling layers and layers of obfuscation away so we could get the truth, at least some of the truth about January 6th, is really to be commended. I have a funny feeling under Chairman Jordan you're going to get a lot more done. Sir, great to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate all the great work you do.
Yeah, back at you, sir. Thanks so much. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to stay in Congress for a second. Congressman Gabe Evans from Colorado is going to join us. We're going to discuss those sanctuary state and city policies and some of that insanity we're seeing in the courts right now. We'll tackle that right after these messages. Hey, it's a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's a lot of work to do as well, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy, as well as your family. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy again. Start it at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health/justnews today and order. That's twc.health/justnews and use the promo code JUSTNEWS to save 10% off.
Welcome back, everybody. We've seen quite a bit in the media about President Trump's immigration policies, and they aren't too terribly pleased about it, and they are publishing negative stories every chance they get. The only problem is I'm not totally sure that the public is taking the bait this time around. But what about in more left-leaning states that have sanctuary city policies? How are those people out there feeling? With us to give us his perspective on that and much more is Colorado Congressman Gabe Evans. Congressman, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Sir, you have served the people of Colorado and this country in many different capacities as law enforcement in our armed services, State House too, I believe, and now in our nation's house. I want to ask you, though, back at home, people in blue cities, places like Denver, Colorado, Aurora, which of course had the infamous Tren de Aragua incident taking place at the apartment building there. Are Democrats becoming a little bit more sympathetic to the notion that maybe our borders should be closed, at least to violent criminals?
Well, I think you've got two categories of Democrats there. You have the ruling Democrats that are in power right now, who unfortunately continue to double down on just their far left failed agenda. And then you have the rank and file folks in Colorado who just want to be able to live their lives, have a business, have a family, have their best version of the American dream. And unfortunately, when you have cities like Denver, Colorado, which has double the homicide rate of San Francisco right now, unfortunately, that dream can't be reached by a lot of these folks. And so being able able to have a robust enforcement policy to get violent international gangs out of our community is a very common sense first step in being able to get back to that safe, affordable community that so many rank and file voters want.
Oh, looks like we might have lost the congressman there for a second. Let's see if we can try to get him back in the control room. The congressman recently introduced the Uplift Act, which I'm really excited about. We'll get to ask him about that hopefully in a second, trying to undo his own state sanctuary policy using federal policy. Congressman, you still with us? Did we get you back? There you are.
I got you. How about me?
Yeah, it looks like he's still freezing. All right, we're going to try to fix that and get to him. It's amazing that the federal government has to go in and try to correct the problem that a state and a city creates for itself. But Denver's ground zero of this, Aurora's ground zero of this, and the notion that this is going to keep on and the American people are going to tolerate it. The polls and the election told us otherwise. We're done with this. Yeah. It's fascinating that these cities are doubling down.
Well, and they find these passion stories, like an actress in L.A. who was in one of the reboots of American Pie, who so sadly and devastatingly and terrifyingly was, I think she was held for 12 or 13 days. Well, as it turns out, she had not renewed her visa cycle after cycle after cycle, had a business in Los Angeles that you know, obviously when you have immigration issues, anything you are tied to there then becomes an issue. So I think the American people are wising up to it this time.
Yeah, no, and I can't imagine, too, if you were one of those people that went through the horror in Aurora, and now you see a federal judge say, you can't get rid of those people. They keep them in the country so they can harm more Americans. You got to be going just nuts about that. Congress, I think we got you back now, and that's good because we got a lot of questions for you. You are taking this issue on directly, the sanctuary city issue, in your own state. Talk us about one of your first pieces of legislation you've introduced, the Uplift Act.
Yeah, the Uplift Act, unhandcuffing police to locate and interdict foreign transgressors. It does a lot of things, but it takes direct aim at those sanctuary state policies by, among other things, extending hold harmless protections to state and local law enforcement officers if they decide to work with the federal authorities to get violent criminals out of our communities, even if that coordination is prohibited by state and local law, which it is in places like Colorado.
I want to ask you about the relationship with law enforcement. You obviously have a deep love as someone who served in blue. It endangers law enforcement on the ground when you have a state like Colorado, a governor like Jared Polis, who you've got this push and pull of responsibilities and desires as far as that community to lock them up. It endangers law enforcement, doesn't it?
It absolutely endangers law enforcement. I mean, we're talking the Sinaloa cartel, we're talking the Jalisco cartel, we're talking Tren de Aragua, and at times these people have guns to where they're potentially outgunning law enforcement officers. You can go look at some of the information surrounding the takeover of some of the apartment complexes in Aurora, where rank and file patrol officers, through no fault of their own, were uncomfortable responding to those places from an officer safety perspective, unless they actually had armored vehicles with them. And so these sanctuary policies really provide sanctuary only for criminals and violent gangs and cartels that are committing crimes and dealing poison like fentanyl in our communities. And in Colorado, it is the people who pay the price. Colorado is #2 in the nation for teenagers overdosing and dying on fentanyl, which again, in my area, is predominantly trafficked by the Jalisco and the Sinaloa cartels.
That's so tragic and so unnecessary. Sir, you're a law and order guy. When you see a federal judge tell the President of the United States he can't remove illegal alien gang members who pose an imminent danger to Americans from the country, he can't do it to protect Americans, what runs through your mind, and how do you think the courts will ultimately resolve this?
Oh, I mean, I think we've already seen what's going to happen there. The Trump administration has appealed that because it makes no sense. We have to be able to get violent criminals out of our communities when they are committing crimes. And we've seen the direct impact of that in districts like mine. Again, Tren de Aragua, they had, it was being referred to as the nightclub, basically their hangout, not an actual nightclub, just their hangout spot, actually in my district. and we saw a major raid that was coordinated by several different federal law enforcement agencies take almost 50 of these members into custody and then immediately turn around and deport them, because getting these folks out of our community is the best and the fastest way to be able to protect public safety and make sure that we actually have safe places for our families. And so that, unfortunately, was not happening under the previous administration. It's not happening under the sanctuary state policies. And so we desperately needed a new administration to come in and within a couple of weeks round up dozens of these known violent foreign criminals and gangbangers.
Yeah, so important.
Sir, before we let you go, I got to ask you about the money and the budgeting side of things. Republicans pretty smoothly got through the CR process, including in the Senate, which I think was maybe a little bit of a surprise towards the end of things. But now the real work begins. And Republicans certainly seem to be more unified now than they were even in the 118th or 117th Congress. How unified, though? I feel like this is when the pedal hits the pavement. This is when we are going to find out just how unified you are.
Well, they say in sports, success breeds success, and we've already had 3 big successes where the pundits said we couldn't do it. They said we wouldn't get a Speaker of the House in the first vote. We did. They said we wouldn't pass a reconciliation resolution out of the House. We did. And they said we wouldn't be able to pass a continuing resolution, which actually helps to reverse the trend by lowering government spending while fully funding all of the critical functions of government that we need. We were able to pass that out of the House. And so, again, I think that we are unified, and I'm very confident that going forward, we're going to be able to address a lot of these different issues and be able to continue on the good work that the administration is doing.
Yeah, I keep calling it the Patti LaBelle Congress. There's a new attitude on Capitol Hill, and it's really, really nice to see. Congressman Gabe Evans from Colorado, thank you so much for being here.
Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right, coming up, we are still waiting on the JFK files to be released. We're going to have more on that next.
Hey folks, did you know scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they can take out loans using your equity as collateral or even sell the property behind your back, and you won't even know it's happening until you start getting collections or foreclosure notices months later. So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your home title lock? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your homes and equity safe. Here's what you get. Immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud should ever happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost to you. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim and access to your personal title expert. A $250 value just for signing up. So do this. Go to HometitleLock.com and use my promo code JTN250. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code JTN250 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve. folks. You're looking at live footage right now, live from Real America's Voice. The astronauts soon to get out of the capsule that just splashed down in the ocean. 9 months in space. If it weren't for Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they might still be there, because Lord knows the Biden administration didn't have a good plan for him. But NASA and Elon Musk are making an incredible success story. A safe splashdown. Right now, you're looking at the capsule. We're going to keep that down in a right-hand box so you can continue to watch that through the rest of the show as these astronauts finally get their feet back on Earth after a pretty long time up in space. All right, we want to also turn to the other big story of the day, and that is that we believe before midnight tonight, hopefully, that the Justice Department and National Archives will release the last of the JFK assassination documents that are in the government's possession. Now, we've had this expert on before. I think he's the best. He knows more about what's in and what's not in the documents than anyone I know. He's an attorney, and he's done so much in the JFK assassination records case to get us to this point. He is Larry Schnapp. Larry, good to have you back on the show, sir.
Hi, thank you.
All right, we could be just a few minutes or hours away from a long-awaited release. What's your expectation? Will we be disappointed? Will we be enthralled? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I guess another case of President Trump. He's on his skis, ready to go down the slope, and the bureaucrats are still putting their ski boots on. He wanted to release the records this morning, and apparently last night, the Department of Justice, National Security lawyers were told to start reviewing the records. So we're very excited. There's 80,000 records, pages supposedly being dumped, and also roughly 15,000 FBI records we've never seen before. So we're very excited about the possibility. A little concerned that, the Department of Justice lawyers are looking at this. We don't know what criteria they're using, but I guess we'll deal with that when the time comes. There are a couple things I'm looking for. The first I'm looking for is the FBI files, obviously, because we've never seen them before. And most of the FBI files that are in the collection right now pertain to the mafia, names withheld and that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm going to look at first. And then what we really want to know is there are records that the government possesses that were not in the JFK collection. In other words, not in the collection that the National Archives has control over. And I sent a letter to the White House counsel in February advising him of these records that are not in the collection. And we're hoping that whatever gets released, it includes these kinds of records. And they include Joe Needy's files, who was a liaison for the CIA with the Cuban exile group in New Orleans. There was also Donald Heath memo that he was the CIA person tasked over the weekend of the assassination to go down to Miami and determine if there's any Cubans involved in the assassination. He referred to records that no one has seen. We have David Atlee Phillips, who was head of misinformation for the CIA. His records are withheld. There's some stuff at Angleton, and there's some testimony before the House, the Church Committee that has not been released. And there's allegedly a tape that was sealed since the mid-'80s of Carlos Marcello in jail, allegedly confessing to being behind the assassination. So we're kind of looking for those things. There's not going to be a smoking gun. No one's going to be dumb enough to put something in writing and say, here's how we're going to kill the president. But just like the CIA has postponed the records because they're afraid that somehow a mosaic could be created by our adversaries about our methods and procedures, those of us on the JFK research side are also hoping that whatever comes out is going to give us a mosaic, more information that historians can put together about circumstances surrounding the assassination. So we're not going to see anyone saying here's who's going to kill the president, but we're going to learn about leads they pursued, people they didn't talk to or they talked to and chose not to, associations Oswald may have had with people in New Orleans and elsewhere. So, it's going to be stuff and it's probably going to take months to kind of get to the bottom of this. I mean, we've organized a group, and each one of us is going to be looking at different areas, and we've actually creating an AI search engine to try to enhance our ability to search the records.
Wow.
Larry, I have what some would probably consider a pipe dream, but that is ultimate transparency of the government. What do you think it would ever take for us to get all of the information, including what is under the redaction? Does it take everybody in all of these documents, primary, secondary, tertiary connections, to all be dead? What does it take?
Well, that is the standard that the CIA and the FBI have been using, and that's not what the statute says. And that's why we sued President Biden 2 years ago, because they were not releasing names of people that might have either witnesses or information about the assassination until they died. They used a 100-year rule. They would take 100 years from the person's date of birth. And that prevents us from interviewing these people. So when President Trump came into power in 2017, the National Security Council was tasked with, reviewing the records. And there were still a lot of deep state people working in that department, that group. When President Trump came in this time, he fired 150 people. So we're hoping that the people that were interested in hiding things are gone. And now the people that are in there are going to want to please the president and release all this information. Look, there might be a handful of documents that somehow might actually have an impact or have a threat to national security. I can't imagine how, but there might be a handful, and maybe that can be redacted. I don't think anyone wants to jeopardize national security, but for the most part, these national security arguments are just, they're not meritorious. I mean, I think I told you last time there was one document that got released in 2019. And the information in there we had known forever. The reason they had not released it was because the information had been gathered by our listening station in Australia. And we had promised the Australian government in the 1960s we would never let anyone know we had a listening station on their soil. Meanwhile, the CIA keeps postponing these records while the most popular TV show in the 2010s in Australia is about our CIA listening station. We have a problem with overclassification in this country.
Larry, we're going to interrupt you here just for a second because they've just opened the hatch of the capsule, and the astronauts who've been in space for 9 months are going to be back home on U.S. soil here on a ship in just a second. Let's see how this goes. We're going to let everybody just watch for a second, then we'll come back and wrap things up with you, Larry. Hang on a second. All right, they're looking in there. They've got maybe some. Okay, we're going to pipe the audio so you can hear literally what's going on from NASA.
Remember, they're taking photos of the side hatch seal. This is part of the standard operation for recovery. These photos will get saved into our procedure. We'll then install that protective frame around the side hatch. This helps to ensure that the side hatch itself, the edges of it, incur no damage while crew members are coming out from the spacecraft. If you missed it, there was also a recovery team member that went inside. So there are now 5 people on board the Dragon spacecraft.
And if you are just joining us, it has not yet even been an hour since Crew 9 splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time. The crew is now on board the recovery vessel Megan, and the hatch is open. The next major milestone that we'll see is when the crew will actually egress or exit the spacecraft. But before that, they'll continue to, the recovery personnel rather, will continue to install that protective area around the hatch and then remove the footrests. So we're a couple minutes away from seeing the crew egress, but not too long away.
All right, folks, we're going to stay with this. We really want to see these astronauts come out and get back on the ground. First, Larry, I want to say thank you. All the work you've done over the years to get us to this moment. And whenever it happens, you have played a big role in that. And I have a funny feeling, I've been hearing from my source, that Carlos Marcello could be a very big part of tomorrow's release. So thank you for all the work you've done on that. And I think we'll get you back on maybe as early as tomorrow to get through the good stuff.
Yeah.
80,000 pages. I'll be working hard. So
okay, maybe we'll give you a day.
We might have to have you back on a couple days in a row. Yeah, we'll do that. But it's always a great honor, and the work you've done as a Freedom of Information Act lawyer to just get the American people the truth, it's greatly appreciated. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. All right, folks, in a couple seconds, we're going to bring on our next guest. We're going to blow through the break here because we want you to see the astronauts. Oh, we got a glimpse of them there.
That was great.
Look at that, a little bit of camera action there. There's 5 people in that little tiny capsule. Just think about that. Good thing you're not claustrophobic. That'd be pretty tough. We're going to watch this in a second, and then we're going to bring in our next guest, Josh Hammer. Amanda, I know he's got a new book out that everybody's talking about. Also does great work at Newsweek, so that's going to be an exciting interview. But I think we're almost at that moment, folks. It looks like they took the picture of the astronauts. They look to be unbuckled, so I think they're probably ready to emerge here. I don't know if we can get sound back in control room, but might be fun to have a little bit of sound here.
Seats egress first, as it makes moving around inside the capsule a little bit easier. We can see the tablets that were previously located on the upper leg of the crew members. We can see those being handed out to the recovery team. Those were taken off prior to the entry phase, to spacecraft reentry. Those had to be stored and secured prior to dynamic operations.
It looks like we are starting to see the footrests also be removed. I just saw one there on the screen. There are 4, of course, one for each crew member.
Those footrests are made out of carbon fiber and are actually sized appropriately for each crew member, as everybody has different measurements and different leg lengths. Same goes for the armrests and the bucket length of each seat. We size those appropriately for the crew members and to ensure their comfort and safety. I believe we just saw the little ramp that is used to help slide the crew members out from inside the spacecraft.
And once the crew does exit Dragon Freedom, they will be placed on to a stretcher to go to a medical bay for medical checkouts. This is standard procedure for all Dragon spacecraft flights that splash down crewed, as well as for our Soyuz spacecraft that land in Kazakhstan.
We can see the exterior of Dragon Freedom quite clearly in this shot, and it's such a beautiful sight. I personally prefer the capsule when it has some of that charring from atmospheric reentry. It is the signature sign of a capsule that has returned to Earth.
Continuing to stand by for our first crew member to egress or exit for Dragon Freedom following their splashdown at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time. Dragon undocked from the International Space Station at 10:05 p.m. Pacific just yesterday, so it was about 17 hours of phasing.
All right, everybody, we are going to have our producers keeping an eye on that, and we'll go straight to it when the astronauts start egressing. That was a new term that I learned today, but basically stepping out of the capsule. All right, I want to turn our attention to what's going on in Israel recently. Israeli forces announced earlier today that airstrikes on the Gaza Strip had eliminated the leader of Hamas, along with other key Hamas officials. And meanwhile, President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin both expressed their desire for stability in that region and for Iran to cease hostilities with Israel. So joining us now to discuss all of this and why the Trump administration's stance on Israel is so important, not only for our own country, but for the entire Western world, is the senior editor-at-large of Newsweek and author of the book Israel and Civilization, Josh Hammer. Josh, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Looking very forward to digging into your book and sharing that with our audience. But I just want to get your reaction on the airstrikes that took place last night, the news that major Hamas officials, including their leader, were taken out. What kind of an impact does this have on that war going forward?
Look, Hamas had every opportunity to continue this ceasefire. They turned down opportunity after opportunity. They continue to try to extract more concessions. You know, one might say that they were not exactly negotiating in good faith, which is what we would expect from a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization, a medieval Islamist death cult trying to take us back to the 7th century. You know, frankly, it was only a matter of time before the IDF went back in, meaningfully speaking, back into Gaza, especially considering the fact that President Trump has all but told Benjamin Netanyahu to do so. I mean, Donald Trump has said Hamas will pay for hell. He has this very bold paradigm-shifting Gaza plan there. He's basically told, or all but told Bibi that you should send the IDF back in there. So it was really only a matter of time, I think, until Bibi Netanyahu actually did it there. The relevant question, frankly, is this actually going to be it? It's been almost a year and a half now since October 7, 2023. The IDF thus far has not truly finished the job. I mean, Hamas is seriously wounded, to be clear. They have taken massive hit after massive hit, including, as you noted, over the past 24 hours or so. But is this actually going to be the beginning of the end for Hamas? That's really the million-dollar question. I'm frankly not entirely sure what the answer is, but I sure hope so. Indeed, I actually pray so as well.
Yeah, Josh, before we dive into more questions, especially about your book, we're just going to pause on this screen for a moment because the astronauts are on Dragon Freedom are supposedly getting out. We are waiting for that to happen. John, I know it's always SOP that as soon as they come out because of zero-G and muscle atrophy and such, they have to immediately be on that stretcher. But I've always kind of wondered if there are some intrepid and a little confident astronauts that want to get up and just wobble across the ship.
Keep in mind, 9 months has been a really extraordinary time to be under anti-gravity environment, and so these guys may have a little bit weaker than normal muscle tone. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, none of them expected to be there that long, so you think of all the preparation that astronauts have to go through before a trip.
And even on a normal shorter one, it sometimes takes 2 or 3 days for the body to adjust, they say. So this could be a little bit longer, but really fascinating to see what is going on here. You know, when you look at these capsules when they take off, they're perfectly bright white. They're all painted. And when they come back and you see that little brown coloring on it, some of it is shadowing, but you also get to see just how hot the atmosphere is and how much scorching it does to the outer capsule. Of course, lots of protection on the inside, but something to really marvel at. And
even structural damage that can sometimes take place, because I don't think people necessarily realize how tough it is between those layers of the atmosphere.
Our first astronaut. There we go.
There we go.
Second.
Oh, it's the second one.
Yeah, that's our second. Yeah, that's right. Look at that.
Well, they've got longer telomeres and younger mitochondria at this point.
Welcome home. Look at that. Good to have them home on safe ground. That's great. Great news for everyone. All right, let's get back to Josh. What do you say?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Right. Josh, this book is fantastic. And I think you said something just as we cut you off to get to the breaking news. And I know you're a journalist, you appreciate that. But I think Hamas is extraordinarily weak. And you said so. Is Israel's goal now just to fully eradicate them and never have to deal with them? Or is there a middle ground where they weaken them further and then say, all right, we're done. Let's just get back to governing Gaza?
Look, Israel very clearly announced 2 war aims at the beginning of this war after October 7th. They said Hamas must be completely eradicated as a political and military institution in Gaza, and we want to retrieve all the hostages. Those are the 2 war aims. But thus far, they have not secured their war aims. And John, I'm afraid from Israel's perspective that unless and until they do so, it must be conceded that they will actually have lost the war on their own terms. So I'm not sure that they have a choice. They set a very clear goal after October 7th, and who can fault them after what happened on October 7th? So unless and until they actually finish the job, I'm not entirely sure how Israel maintains any kind of deterrence or credibility, frankly, in the region. The thing about the Arab world, about the broader Muslim world, is that the lingua franca, the common language there that the Arab world speaks is brute strength. That it is a culture that knows strength and really strength alone. That is the only way to actually secure your place in this very volatile part of the world there. In this particular instance, especially given the announced war aim after October 7th, I really do think that Israel has to finish this job one way or the other.
Yeah, great point. Good point.
Josh, there are, I believe, 24 hostages who are believed to still be alive. And obviously, we are all very sympathetic to their situation and that of their family as well. But there are a lot of folks out there who are saying that this was far too risky. It endangered the lives of these hostages. But I spoke to Adi Alexander, the father of Eden Alexander, today. And even he said that this military action felt like it felt like the last resort, but the only resort. Do you agree?
I totally agree. In fact, I'll actually go even further. You know, I was just saying a minute or so ago that Israel announced 2 war aims after October 7th. They announced that Hamas had to go, Hamas had to be eradicated, and the hostages have to come home. I've actually been personally critical of those 2 war aims because I do not think that those 2 war aims are actually on the same footing. And that's going to sound a little callous and heartless. And obviously, I do not have any loved ones there who have been rotting for a year and a half, ruled by the sickest, most satanic, diabolical jihadists on the planet. And I'm sure my stance would be a little different if I were. But just thinking soberly, objectively speaking there, it seems to me, from Israel's perspective, and really just from the United States perspective, from your perspective, just from anyone who has skin in the game, so to speak there, it seems to me like the destruction and eradication of Hamas is a clearly more important goal than retrieving the hostages. Again, I realize that sounds heartless. I realize it sounds callous, and I'm willing to take that criticism. But I'm just trying to think geostrategically here, militarily. It seems to me to be the clearly more important of the 2 things. So again, Israel had no choice. The other thing that I will mention, earlier I was saying how Donald Trump has all but told Bibi to go back in. He's saying that the gates of hell will be opened here and all this very fiery rhetoric. You know, Donald Trump is someone who I think abhors weakness and respects strength. So if you are all but telling someone to go back in and finish a job, then you actually have to go in and finish a job, because the alternative then is to also look weak in the eyes of your staunchest ally and your greatest supporter of the United States.
Yeah, such an important dynamic. There's a fascinating conversation starting to go on in Congress and in some circles in American military, and that is it's time for the United States to end its military assistance, sort of assistance that we probably structured as second or third world assistance, and just treat Israel as a military trading partner, a little bit different, so that there isn't, under Democratic presidents in the future, all the strictures they place on Israel in future military operations. Is that gaining any popularity inside Israel or in the United States? Do you see that possibly happening here?
John, I've actually personally been a huge proponent of what you just laid out for a long time now. I wrote my first article calling for this maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I have maybe 1,000 or 2,000 words in the book making this exact argument as well. It's in chapter 7, or chapter 7 or 8. I think it's chapter 7 if memory serves there. So I'm actually all in on this argument. I think that this continued $3 to $4 billion in annual aid from the U.S. to Israel actually undermines both countries. It undermines the United States because it's a decent amount of money, and frankly, it ends up being a slush fund going to crony capitalist endeavors, namely defense contractors like Boeing and Northrop Grumman. So it's not particularly great from an American perspective, especially given that we are cost conscious with an ever-splitting national debt and so forth there. And from Israel's perspective, to your point, I mean, when Democrats get in power, I remember all too well in Barack Obama's second term, John Kerry kind of threatening and saying, don't do this or don't do that. I mean, it was infamously much worse under Joe Biden and Antony Blinken as well there. So Israel, why would they want to put themselves in that position either? And frankly, the notion that the state of Israel could be so utterly reliant on any ally, including the United States, that it's going to take orders when it comes to how it conducts wars, that frankly undermines the entire raison d'etre. It undermines the entire purpose of the modern state of Israel, which is to be a place where Jews control their own homeland and Jews control their own sovereignty and indeed their own destiny in their ancestral homeland. So frankly, at kind of a more abstract theoretical level, I think that this current U.S.-Israel aid arrangement frankly undermines the entire notion of Zionism itself, actually. So I think that both countries would stand to benefit from phasing this out. I'm not saying that you cut off the spigot overnight. I'm not saying, frankly, that you do it in the middle of a very hot war. But over the mid to long term, I think it is very shrewd policy to phase this down.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are considering that as this moves forward. I think that the implication for Israel, if they are able to eradicate Hamas, are clear. For other nations that are in that general region, for Egypt, for Jordan, for other Middle Eastern countries who have felt the detrimental implications of having Hamas in that region, what does it look like for them post-Hamas?
So Hamas is just an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's an important thing to bear in mind here. Hamas was founded as the Palestinian Arab offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is largely bankrolled these days by two countries in particular. That would be Qatar and Turkey. Those are really the two countries above all that fund the Muslim Brotherhood, and those are the two countries who really have been mollycoddling and in many ways bankrolling and funding Hamas. Iran is kind of a unique case, obviously, but the Muslim Brotherhood really is part and parcel of Hamas. So it stands to reason that if Hamas were to go, the countries that are very cozy with the Muslim Brotherhood would take a pretty serious hit. So you would think logically that Turkey and Qatar's influence in the region might go down just a notch. Now Turkey also just happens to effectively orchestrate a coup against Bashar al-Assad in Syria. That was very much Turkish-backed Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So Turkey's on a bit of a high note there, but they would definitely take it down a notch if Hamas were to go there. It would be a tremendous victory just in general for a more moderate flavor of Islam if Hamas were to go, and if a more moderate form of Islam were to control that strip. I'm holding aside, I'm tabling for now the Donald Trump proposal that the United States actually takes over. I'm very open to being persuaded on that, by the way, but I'm kind of just being a little bit more pragmatic maybe in saying that if it is going to stay in some sort of Muslim hands there, it'll be a tremendous upgrade to get more moderate Arabs ruling there. The most logical way that would probably play out, in my estimation, would be you would get some sort of consortium of the more moderate Sunni Arab states, the Saudis, Bahrainis, Emiratis there. That could potentially look quite good as long as there are assurances that Hamas never comes back into power.
Yeah. Josh, I think we got to put a pin in this, but this is a great opportunity to send everybody to go check out your book, Israel and Civilization. Senior Editor at Large at Newsweek, Josh Hammer, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, that's it for us tonight. That was so exciting to see those astronauts. Very good to see them home, and I'm sure that this was a great homecoming just being back in the United States. All right, everybody, we'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. I want you to take a close look at this man. This is federal judge James Boasberg. He is literally endangering the lives of Americans, all for what? To push a radical liberal agenda. Why wouldn't he do it? He was appointed by Barack Obama. Now he's got his federal judgeship sitting in a district court in Washington, D.C., and he wants to put the kibosh of not just the deportation of the MS-13 gang members and the Tren de Aragua gang members. I believe he wants to stop all of President Trump's deportations. So he puts an order out, turn the planes around. President Trump doesn't, says that we're already out of our airspace. But here's the real deal in this. I don't believe one district court judge should be allowed to make law, which is virtually what he's doing with his rulings, for the entire country. What I would offer up is a change in how our district courts operate. If you go to a district court, his ruling ought to be just for that district as the claim makes its way up through the courts, getting wider and wider and wider, ultimately all the way to the Supreme Court. But that's not how it works. Here's President Trump's Stephen Miller.
Could direct which general on the battlefield is going to be in charge of making which decisions. Could direct, for example, we can send this military asset to this country, but not this country. Could direct what intelligence we could share with Israel versus with Saudi Arabia. If a district court judge can be involved in the conduct of our foreign policy, under no definition do we have a democracy in this country.
I don't think it'll ever end. And the left, clearly, because they ignore the Constitution and the rule of law, try to weaponize the courts. So what? They can enact policy. Now, President Trump made no bones about it. He wants this Judge Boasberg impeached. I actually don't think that's a great idea. Congressman Brandon Gill disagrees with me. The Republican has filed articles of impeachment. He's filed them on the House floor. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I want you to think about this. One, I don't think it holds up in court. And two, what happens when the Democrats take over? They going to impeach every Republican judge that rules in favor of the Constitution? I don't like the idea of impeaching judges. What I like the idea of is winning elections and getting our own judges in there. And if we have to do something legislatively, maybe that's how it should work. But Governor Greg Abbott of my home state of Texas laid it out like this.
The executive branch has authority that can operate independently of the legislative and the judicial branches, and you got to look into the bowels of the details of it to see whether or not that is a pure separation here. But what the Trump administration is saying is that they have the independent authority that cannot be overridden by the judicial branch or by the legislative branch to execute these laws. Remember what Trump is doing. He's just not saying, oh, well, we're going to do this because we want to do it. Trump is enforcing laws that are already on the book.
And they most certainly are, and I think it is clear as day. Now, if you want to stop this nationwide, I think only the Supreme Court should be allowed to do that. I want to just give you a little example of the hypocrites of the Democrats, though. This is Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe.
George W. Bush had to deal with this. Barack Obama had to deal with this repeatedly. Joe Biden had to deal with this. They didn't scream and yell and say we weren't going to listen to federal district court judges. What's changed?
Well, I'll tell you what's changed. Not a lot. And in fact, the reality is Joe Biden didn't scream and yell. He completely ignored not just a district court judge, but the Supreme Court. Remember the student loan issues? Here's a little flashback of Joe Biden.
The Supreme Court blocked me from relieving student debt, but they didn't stop me. So far, I've relieved student debt for nearly 5 million Americans, a significant number of black borrowers.
So there you go. He admits it. He just defies the courts. I don't want President Trump to do that. And in fact, when it comes to this plane, he said, hey, listen, they were already out of American airspace. They can prove it wasn't subject to this order. So where do we go from here? Because radical judges are making it very difficult for President Trump to do his job of keeping Americans safe. I want to bring in now Cornell clinical law professor and founder of Legal Insurrection, Professor William Jacobson is with us. Professor, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, what do you make of President Trump's claim, hey, let's impeach him, this lunatic of a judge, as he called him?
That's something out of frustration. He's not the first one to say that. And guess what? Democrats have been saying that about Supreme Court justices they don't like also. So I agree with you that that's not the remedy. First of all, it'll never happen. It might make people feel good, but you're never going to get, necessary votes in the Senate. So it's not going to happen. Where is that going to get you? You're just feeding into what the Democrats have been doing in attacking the Republican or the conservative majority on the Supreme Court. That's not the answer. The answer is actually for the Supreme Court to do its job. That's the problem. They had two cases brought to them that could have nipped in the bud the runaway district courts who are exercising executive department powers. You've gone over some of that. That they had a chance to stop this, and they didn't. That's really the problem here, is that John Roberts can complain all he wants, but how about doing your job?
All right. Is there any way we could get this in front of the Supreme Court? I know we can't force them to take things up, but get another case in front that can really stop these district courts. And with that, what do you think of my idea? I don't even know how you would implement it, to say, okay, if a district court judge wants to make a ruling, well, it's only for his district, not for the entire country.
Well, again, the Supreme Court's going to have to do that. And that's been a controversy for a long time, these, national injunctions, where really the courts need to stick to the case before them as opposed to national injunctions. I mean, the judge in the case of the flights that he ordered to be turned around, and how did the judge even know that they had enough fuel on the plane to turn around, yet he ordered it? And so he certified a class action with no hearing, no ability of the government to oppose it, a class action consisting of the members of the terrorist gang. It's absolutely crazy, but it's up to the Supreme Court. I mean, John Roberts is an institutionalist. He believes very firmly in, the sanctity of the judiciary. And so do I. I think it's really important. Mm-hmm. But if he's the keeper of the judiciary as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, he's got to take the cases. There were two cases brought to them, and in one of them, 4 of the justices, you can guess the names, the 4 conservative justices, were furious that they didn't take the case. And Justice Alito wrote a dissent, joined by 3 other justices, saying, we have failed as the Supreme Court to fulfill our obligation to make sure the district courts do not abuse their power. So it's right in front of John Roberts. Donald Trump is not the problem. I'm not the problem. The Republican proposing impeachment is not the problem. The problem is the Supreme Court has not been doing its job.
Yeah, on so many levels. You can go all the way back to the election in 2020. I don't think the Supreme Court really is doing its job on a lot of things here. I think pressure, though, helps. Pressure from programs like this, pressure from people like you, pressure from President Trump. Ultimately, they get overwhelmed. Maybe they'll take one of these cases up. I appreciate you coming on tonight, Professor Jacobson, from the Legal Insurrection Foundation and at Cornell Clinical Law. Thank you, sir, as always.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely. All right, turning now to another situation. Folks, what is going on with the administration? When we're told by President Trump that we would get this today, the JFK files, and still, I got nothing here. This was President Trump yesterday.
But while we're here, I thought it would be appropriate. We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this. We got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact.
Don't redact. We don't want to redact it, Mr. President. Thank you for that, except I don't know. Is your team failing here? Where is the failure? It is now past, 7 o'clock at night on the East Coast, and we still don't have the JFK files unless they dropped right before I came on air, which I don't think they did. This is White House Deputy Press Secretary teasing us about this.
The American people will have their hands on these documents, and there will be a story to tell. I won't preview that story, but let me tell you, the American people are truly going to be shocked at what they see.
I got to tell you, I don't believe him. I don't think we're going to be shocked. I think everything in these files will have already been whitewashed. I think the cover-up has been going on for over 60 years now, and I don't think we're going to see anything. And in fact, I don't even think they've shown it to President Trump. I think the cover-up goes that deep. Well, joining me now, retired FBI Special Agent Steve Gray is back with us. Steve, welcome to the program, my friend. It's good to see you.
Hey, Grant, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. So we're told we get the files, and then, I don't know, Steve, no files yet. What do you make of this?
I think that the government workers can't keep up with the pace of Donald Trump right now. He's a 78-year-old man that sleeps 4 hours a night. And we have government workers that are leaving after 8 hours and heading home when they actually should be working 16 hours at this point. If the president says he wants the files released, they should have had those files ready to go and released on the time and date that the president wanted them done. And they didn't have that done. And now that makes the administration, again, look bad, again, with the Epstein files. And here we go again with the JFK files. And it also gives an air of suspicion that there's something going on. And that's not good for this administration.
All right. Well, I've got some breaking news, and it usually always works this way. As we're speaking, the drop just happened. So you can find it on the National Archives page, I believe, archives.gov. I shouldn't do this. Everybody's going to leave the show right now and go check it out. We're expecting 14,000 pages here, Steve. Do you think that we will see blockbuster news in this, or are you like me thinking that the cover-up has been going on for so long, anything that would be blockbuster-esque is long gone?
I think what we're going to get is a more focused view of the history of the investigation into the JFK files. Unfortunately, the American public has a great distrust for our government. It has never been higher than it is at this time in our lives. And what it's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow the general public to make their own decisions and come to their own conclusions. The problem is that many of these files that have been dropped, 80,000 or so that they said they're going to release at some point throughout this week, have already been actually reviewed by a commission in the 1990s. And that commission didn't find anything unusual within the investigation. Now, what we're going to have is we're going to have this drop of these files. But then what we understand is there's 2,400 new files that have never been reviewed that the FBI just found. So we're going to have a drop of those should they be released once they're looked over for national security purposes. And then the other problem we're going to have is we're going to have those lost files. The government is a huge bureaucracy, whether it be the FBI or the CIA. I've worked in both buildings. They are huge. And you have a lot of government workers that have these files on hand. They stuff them in drawers. They forget about them. They go on vacation. They pass away. They forget about them. And there's a lot of things that happen to these files, and they get spread out over all great places, including presidents' garages.
Steve, am I too harsh in thinking I'm not going to believe any of the lost files excuses, that I just think that would be too coincidental, that if something was meaningful, they ain't losing it. They're either hiding it or destroying it?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. They're going to stuff them in a file. They're not going to label it, and they're going to stuff it in the basement of the CIA or the FBI building, and it's going to be filed away forever. Because there are certain things, the United States government information that either they don't want to get out, or for national security purposes, they just can't release to the general public. I agree with you 100%, Grant, that we're never really going to get to the 100% bottom line conclusion of this investigation.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Real quick, let me play Congressman Burchett, cut 15, get your response, and play Congressman Burchett.
But I would warn people, I think they're going to have to probably pace this thing out a little bit. They won't dump them all at once. I think, and people are going to go down every rabbit hole that's on there. And you got to realize some of that stuff that's in there is not truthful. It was, they found out some of the stuff later wasn't true, and maybe some of it was planted at some point. But I honestly don't think nobody's ever going to know exactly.
So I guess in many respects he agrees with us on many fronts. Steve, I'll give you the last word before we move on.
Well, I think that the American public needs to make their own decisions. These files will be released. They're going to be gone over by investigators at great lengths. A lot of more reports are going to come out through different news agencies, and everybody can make their own conclusion. And that's the bottom line with this investigation.
Yeah. It sure is. Transparency is the best thing. We haven't had a lot of that coming out of this government for a long time, decades, if not probably since the beginning of this government's creation. But Steve Gray, I always appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me, Gray. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Absolutely. You too. I want to turn now to another victory for President Trump. Man, I'm telling you, this is why you engage with your adversary. So President Trump had a nearly 3-hour call with Vladimir Putin today. What came out of that call? Why don't I run down the list for you? You have an immediate energy and infrastructure ceasefire, okay? That's a good thing. You have a possible peace deal. At least they are going to start immediately peace talks in the Middle East to discuss the ceasefire and a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. There is a Black Sea maritime peace deal, meaning no ships will be attacked from either side. And maybe the best thing to come out of this, at least for all of us who are sports fans, is Vladimir Putin and President Trump agree they would like Russia and the United States to start playing hockey games against each other. A team taken from the NHL and a team taken from the professional leagues in Russia. That's about, you know what, keeping your enemies close and saying, hey, we can try to build on this relationship. I like that a lot better than nuclear war, don't you? Well, joining me now, former special assistant to President Trump, our good friend, Army Colonel retired Derek Harvey. Colonel Harvey, it's great to have you back on.
Good to be on.
What did you make, Colonel, of what came out of the meeting today?
Well, I think this is a very important first step. As you've said, we have to be engaged. The president has changed the dynamic. We've had the first de-escalation in the 3 years of the war, and there are prospects for real progress going forward. This is not the beginning. This is the beginning, and we're not close to the end. But importantly, we are engaged. There's real dialogue, and this is a tremendous first step.
Do you believe Vladimir Putin when he says he will agree to an immediate infrastructure and energy ceasefire, meaning they won't attack any of those types of installations in either country?
Well, trust but verify, and that's important. But the most important thing here is, you know, they're engaged. There will be progress here. There might be a slip up or two initially in this ceasefire because it is always complicated getting those commands down to everyone that can pull a trigger. But, I think we're on the right path here. There's going to be a lot more detailed technical discussions going forward on the Black Sea ceasefire, on other agreements in the Middle East, but we are engaged. No one is naive here about the nature of the Russian regime and what they're going to try and do in trying to isolate and undermine Ukraine. But, we are engaged in a serious negotiation that is important to bring peace to that region, and it's about time.
All right, let me ask you now, turning to Israel. So I am so mad at the mainstream media for blaming Israel for somehow breaking a ceasefire by starting to launch attacks against Hamas. I actually believe Israel is living up to the deal they made, that either you return all the hostages or all hell will rain down, as President Trump had also said. Hamas hasn't returned the hostages. What do people want from Israel, Colonel Harvey?
Well, they want the defeat of Israel. They want Israel to be embarrassed and, run into a situation where it's going to be further isolated and undermine its political system and Prime Minister Netanyahu's government. That's what the left wants to do, and that's what those that are against Israel in Europe, in the United Nations, in the Arab League, that's what they want. And President Trump is standing firm with Israel. They clearly got the green light. Hamas has not stood up and been accounted for ensuring the return of the hostages. Israel had many, many opportunities to move in earlier because of the failure of Hamas to live up to the deal.
What would you recommend Israel do right now? If you were consulting with Benjamin Netanyahu, what is the game plan for Israel, in your opinion, the best force of action?
Well, right now they have an open door to go in and hit Hamas hard, and I think they need to do that and keep pressure up. They need to make sure that all of those supporting Hamas and the Hamas leadership and the Palestinians in Gaza understand that there is no future for a Hamas government or a Hamas military presence in the future of Gaza. And Israel has to exercise tremendous military pressure as well as diplomatic and economic pressure on both the Gaza people, Hamas leadership, and put pressure on their supporters, whether they be in Cairo, in Ankara, or in Qatar.
Lastly, real quick, if you can, do you ever think the world will get behind Israel as they should? I've just been amazed watching this play out over the last year or two of watching the hatred for Israel and the failure to back that one great ally of freedom up in that very, very tumultuous region.
Well, we're facing, very difficult, strong winds of anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli sentiment in international organizations, be it the International Court at The Hague, the United Nations, European capitals. And, what we have to understand here in America is Israel is fighting our fight. Israel is, getting U.S. support, but they are doing the fighting for Western civilization. And the United States' security and economic future in the region is further bolstered by a successful Israel, our democratic ally in the region.
I'm telling you, they are fighting for anybody who loves freedom and safety across the globe, not just the United States. These radical jihadists, they will march every single person that doesn't agree with them out to a beach, put them on their knees and lop their heads off. And I wish the world would wake up and realize that. Colonel Derek Harvey, it's always great having you on. I see you're in our Washington bureau. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we won this election, but the fight to restore our nation is just beginning. Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, is doing such a fabulous job leading the way. It's more than cell phone service. It's Stand for Freedom. Get reliable coverage on all three major networks, supporting the First and Second Amendments, life, and, of course, our veterans. Switching is so easy. Keep your number or phone with U.S.-based customer support. Just visit patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code RAV for a free month. I'm a Patriot Mobile customer. Switching was super easy for me. I did it just like you will. So, again, use that promo code RAV. patriotmobile.com/RAV or call them at 972-PATRIOT and tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, in California, a man arrested on gruesome attempted murder charges gets to avoid justice. This only happens in California. Republicans are winning all the way across the country. I want you to take a look at this map. This is California from 2020 to 2024. The amount of inroads we made in counties, Republicans that is, they were huge. Now, I'm not going to say President Trump and Republicans need to take all the credit for this. Democrats love to shoot themselves in the foot. Gavin Newsom is doing a great job of ruining California and also now ostracizing Democrats. Well, today he had Mike Walz, remember the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. You know, I played football, a guy named Mike Walz. Tim Walz, a guy, governor of Minnesota, who ran against Kamala Harris, had him on the program, and look at what Tim Walz's number one complaint was.
It just baffled me how much time they spent trying to attack me that I wasn't like masculine enough in their vision. Like, I would have never believed this. I saw Fox News did like a couple days because I used a straw. And I'm like, hell, man, how else do you drink a milkshake type of thing?
Milkshake. Dude, that's not manly, okay? And straws aren't manly. My father, he doesn't watch this program, but he would tell you from when I was a little kid, I was not allowed to use a straw. In fact, I despise men who use straws. What, are you going to fight somebody? Oh, look at me. Let's go outside as you're drinking from your straw. Come on, dude. Here, he went on. He's really stuck on this, by the way, too.
They focused on it obsessively, which I think, again, is their obsession, their weirdness. We buy their frame on these issues of sexuality, you know, but their whole thing is that they spent all their time, these guys, on Fox News, that Walz is gay, he's not masculine, you know, he doesn't coach football the way he should.
Hey, Holmes, your nickname is Tampon Tim because you put tampons in the men's rooms for the transgender maniacs who, and you think that you're not masculine. You're not masculine. We think you're not masculine. Oh my God, it gets me so confused. The whole transgender thing gets me confused. Newsom is part of the problem as well. Okay, here he is with his best Kamala Harris impersonation of word salad.
To also be a representative of the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy, where at our best we are living together and advancing together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. We're hardly perfect. I am not naive. There's humility in that.
He goes on literally for another 30, 40 seconds, and it just goes nowhere. Well, joining me now is my co-host out in Los Angeles on AM 870, The Morning Answer, Jen Horn. Jen, welcome to the program.
I brought my straw today, Grant, just because, you know.
Well,
I know you can't drink from it, but I can. That's right.
Exactly.
And I'm allowed to have a pink cup, too.
Oh, my milkshake. Yeah, that's real. That's really manly. Let me ask you. What is going on with Gavin Newsom? What is his deal with this podcast, with having Walz on, with then having Bannon on, with what is he doing?
I think he is just skating right now. He gave that, I'd like to say it was a press conference on Monday, but you and I learned from a friend of ours in the local news media, he took 0 questions. He has not taken any questions from the news media ever since he started this podcast. He's getting a ton of criticism from people on the left that he's not left enough, from people like me on the right who's saying we're helping him become more moderate. And I don't know. I think that maybe he was enjoying a little bit of extra fun maybe on St. Patrick's Day, and that's why he gave this really crazy word salad press conference, but no press allowed.
All right. So speaking of manly, he brings this situation up with butterflies. Listen.
In the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, Mr. Governor, says wisdom is a butterfly. Wisdom is a butterfly, not a gloomy bird of prey. Wisdom is a butterfly, not a gloomy bird of prey. The conversation, Mr. Governor, we just had, I think, illuminated that contrast. The relationship to Sonora, the relationship to California.
I don't know what he's talking about. Now, I would say maybe Tim Walz is a butterfly. Is that what he's talking about?
I think, look, Tim Walz definitely a butterfly, not the pretty ones though, the like solid color butterflies, like a moth. And I think that there is just something going on with Gavin. Did you see what he's doing with his hands? This is the first time I really noticed it. He's got his hands all over the place. He seems very relaxed. I'm just saying, you know, marijuana is legal in California. He owns a winery. I don't know. Maybe the governor is just like, you know, I'm taking a little break until it's time, till it's time to run for president. Clearly, he's not governing California. Right.
Well, let me give you an example of something you brought to my attention this morning. This is why I think he's going to have a really hard time running for president, because of the things that are happening in California. You've got a homeless guy who literally travels down to Santa Monica, California with a pipe to go try to beat up and attack black folks. He ends up crushing a sleeping homeless guy's skull, putting him in a wheelchair, didn't kill him. This homeless guy who used that pipe ends up escaping trial, which he could have gotten life in prison for beating someone's skull with a pipe. And he goes into a diversion program. What is this about, Jen?
So I did a little research today for you on this one, Grant, because this is absolutely crazy even for California. So this guy takes a pipe. He's a white guy, takes a pipe, kills a black, or almost kills, attempted murder on a black guy, crushes his skull. The guy is damaged for life. He has got brain damage. He's going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So they try to charge him with attempted murder. Well, apparently last year, 17, and let me say bipartisan lawmakers up in Sacramento passed an addition of attempted murder to all of the things that will qualify you for diversion programs, which means you go to like a Looney Tune farm for 2 years and then you're out. You never see jail time, literally 2 years of diversion. And you find out that they don't actually tell someone if you escape the program for 72 hours. So this guy who has a long record of criminal behavior, he's a drug addict, he could go into this program, and if he takes off, no one's going to even know about it for 72 hours. But it's not just attempted murder, which is ridiculous that the Democrats in Sacramento added this just last year. But you know what else will qualify you for diversion? If you commit a crime and you have ADHD, if you have erectile dysfunction, if you use marijuana, if you are anorexic, if you're a hoarder, if you are a skin picker, if you're a chronic gambler, a binge eater, if you suffer from insomnia. I mean, this is like a whole rap sheet of our morning show, Grant. We've got
I'm not going to tell you which categories I fall into on this. It's not the ED one, I'll tell you that much. But I could get off a lot of crimes. Binge eating, I'm good. Gambling, you got it. I'm getting off scot-free.
Intoxication? I know. So apparently, if you can prove that you're intoxicated with Starbucks and you commit a crime, you can qualify for a diversion program in California. Isn't that amazing? I mean, all you have to do is hit Starbucks before you want to rob somebody, and I guess you're good to go. It is absolutely insane.
Jen, great work on that one tonight, as always. Thank you for coming on.
I'm here to help.
I know you are. And I'll see you in the morning, bright and early, 6 a.m. Pacific time there, 6 to 9, the Morning Answer. You can check us out on Rumble, too. Just type in the Morning Answer. We'll be right there for you. All right, speaking out against Joe Biden could get you arrested in Australia. Could have the police come banging down your door. Happened to this man. Full story next. everybody. All right, listen to me. This is important. Australia is out of control. You can go all the way back to COVID. Their tyrannical policies, their ban on free speech, they're going after conservatives, left and right. Anybody who embraces freedom, Australia doesn't like you. Take a look at this tweet from the Australian ambassador. It had basically been taken down. It says, the most destructive president in history. He drags America and democracy through the mud. He thrives on fomenting, not healing, division. He abuses Christianity, church, and Bible to justify violence, all aided and abetted by Murdoch's Fox News network in America, which feeds this. That from Kevin Rudd, the Australian ambassador to the United States. That tweet, once President Trump was elected, was quickly taken down. Well, I got the attention of this by a very good friend of mine. His name is Nelly Yoa. He is a former soccer player, and a damn good soccer player at that. The sad reality is, though, in 2011, he lost his contract with a professional team in Sydney. Why? Because Nelly Yoa stepped in to help his friend and others survive a machete attack. Like 30 people were using machetes. Nelly steps in 16 times. He was chopped with that machete and kiss his soccer career goodbye. This is a guy who wants to help others, including President Trump. He tweeted this not long ago. This from Nelly Yoa. It says, these 4 individuals currently run the U.S. consulates in Australia. They were handpicked by the Biden regime and need to be fired immediately. They are anti-Trump. They are scums. These scums were the same lunatics who were involved in the weaponization of government against President Trump across Australia and Asia. U.S. Deputy Chief of Mission Australia, Erica Olson. He goes through the names, and I don't need to name them all, but all apparently bad news bears in Australia. So Nelly Yoa, unbeknownst to him, gets a bang on his door, and guess what? There are federal authorities with a search warrant for his house. Apparently very upset. Throw the search warrant up there. Very upset about this tweet that he put out, calling into question just how much they hate President Trump in Australia. They search his house, and in the end, I don't think they took much. I think what this was about was scaring him. Well, I believe we have Nelly, or do not have? We do. Okay. This is great news. So all the way from Australia, Nelly Yoa joins us live. Nelly, welcome to the program, my friend. It is good to see you.
Oh, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. So take me through this. We know about the tweets. Take me through the feds knocking on your door. What happens? How does this go down?
Look, I mean, initially I was not at home. I left for work. My family were at home. They knocked on the door around 9:30 a.m. The guns were drawn. The door was sort of pushed in forcefully, and my whole family was afraid. And it was something out of the movie.
Unbelievable. Now, why do you think they served this search warrant on you, Nelly?
Look, my guess is as good as yours. I am gobsmacked. That search warrant should never have been issued. I believe because last month I made a tweet criticizing Joe Biden appointed cronies who are currently running the Australian embassy in Australia. And unfortunately, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you also sent me the tweet deleted by the Australian ambassador, really calling all kinds President Trump. I mean, basically besmirching President Trump's good name. I think looking at the history of Australia, especially back through COVID, I think they were trying to scare you, Nelly.
Yeah, look, I mean, the last 4 years, I've been monitored, and this is just because I am a supporter of President Trump. I endorse President Trump. I love his agenda. I know he's the best president in history. And a lot of people in Australia disagree with him. And look, I'm thankful that we have President Trump in office, because a lot of stuff that's going on in Australia, I'm pretty sure President Trump would ensure these stuff don't occur.
Nelly, did they take anything from you? Did they take your computers? They seized your phones? Did they charge you with a crime?
Absolutely not. They've spent 3 hours searching the house. The whole house was turned upside down. There was nothing taken. My phone was not confiscated. I was basically, the whole raid was for them to talk to me and to tell me to stop criticizing Joe Biden on social media. Now, that post on X, I was not told to take that post down. It's still there. I don't believe it was offensive. But I'm gobsmacked how they managed to get a search warrant by the Australian Federal Police. Now, Australian Federal Police is equivalent to the FBI. These guys were supposed to be the smartest federal law agency in the country. How they managed to get this wrong, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that the magistrate has signed off on the search warrant. They've spent about a good 6 weeks to plan this operation. I think it's just simply a waste of taxpayers' money. And Australian taxpayers would be afraid.
Nelly, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think that they just made some mistake. They weaponized the courts. This is what's happening in America. I see the same situation with law enforcement going after conservatives, especially under the Biden administration. I think we'll get a reprieve of that under the Trump administration. But my last question for you is, here, we're Real America's Voice. Yes, we're broadcast around the world, but we're really an American network. Did any of the Australian local news stations, did the Sydney stations come and cover this? I mean, to me, this would be big news. Any media coverage of this?
Absolutely not. I mean, our mainstream media in Australia is sort of controlled by the government. So a lot of them were too afraid to cover the story. This is just so they don't embarrass the Australian Federal Police about this blunder they've created. I mean, this should have been the biggest stories in Australia. I mean, to spend all that much money to send all the Australia's Federal Police to my house. The whole street was closed off. This is just to silence me, to intimidate me, and to belittle my family. And it's just unacceptable.
Yeah. Look, from your history, and I look at you, Nelly, as a hero. You basically gave up a soccer career to save others with that machete attack, and you suffered greatly for that. But it's clear to me, nobody's scaring you, and nobody's going to stop you from speaking out or doing what's right. Clearly, you've proven that in the past. You've proven that now. And so just do us a favor. We'll try to get this story to the Trump administration so they know about it. They know who they're dealing with in Australia. And you keep us posted on how this case goes for you. Anything we can do to help you, let us know.
Oh, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. I mean, this is unfortunate. The fact that this whole raid was orchestrated, it's something out of the movie. It should never happen.
No, it never should. Nelly Yoa, thank you so much. I urge everyone to follow him on X and social media. He's got a huge social media following. I think he's got like 675,000 followers on Instagram. Follow him there. You just type in Nelly Yoa, Y-O-A, and his profile will come up. All right, Democrats continue their downward spiral as Republicans unite behind President Trump. What this means for you next. This story about these two astronauts who got stranded up at the International Space Station because Boeing, of all companies, had a malfunction with their vehicle that got them up there. Well, who comes to the rescue? Old Elon Musk comes to the rescue. This is video of the splashdown today. As I mentioned, 9 months in space, these NASA astronauts were stranded up there. That landing you see there is in the Gulf of America off of Tallahassee, Florida, and bringing an end to this crazy, crazy story. Barry Butch Wilmore, 62, and Suni Williams, 59, returned home after a new crew replaced them and 2 other astronauts. So this is great news. The 4-person Crew 10 carried by SpaceX Dragon spacecraft early met up with the International Space Station, where Wilmore and Williams have been living since their planned roughly week-long mission in June of 2024. It was supposed to be a week, and they end up there, folks, for 9 months. God bless Elon Musk. God bless SpaceX. I don't know who pays for them to come down, but somebody ought to pay for them to come down. And yet what happens? Democrats are screaming and yelling about Elon Musk and what the Republicans are doing. Meanwhile, he just saved 2 astronauts. This is why the Democrats are faltering. It's why they're collapsing. I want to bring in with me now editor-in-chief for AMAC Newsline, Shane Harris. Shane, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Them complaining about Elon Musk and him rescuing astronauts literally sums up the whole situation with the Democrat Party, Shane.
Yeah, the Democrats, they're in some trouble right now. We're seeing it in the polling, 29% approval. It's the lowest ever for the party. And, you know, after the election that they just had last year, they should be looking to rebound. And right now, they're not doing that.
Yeah, when you look at polling numbers like that at 29%, but I think the American people are saying, hey, listen, President Trump's deporting very, very bad guys, bad hombres, as President Trump likes to say, and then you're cutting this wasteful spending. Who would be against that, Shane?
And that's the problem that Democrats have. President Trump has staked out a number of 80-20 issues that Republicans are on the 80% side. And Democrats, by default, since 2016, their mantra has been, we are the anti-Trump party. So they're forced into a pigeonhole where they're having to take the 20% of these 80-20 issues, and it's very unpopular with the American people. And the sad thing is they don't even seem to realize how radical they've become. They think it's just a messaging issue. But really, the problem is that their policies are deeply unpopular with the public, and we saw that at the polls last November.
All right, your group is the Association for Mature American Citizens. I'm a member. I'm 56 years old. Membership, I'm sure, obviously, because of the name, skews a little older. They've got to be looking at Democrats, AMAC members, and saying, what in the world is going on? You're imploding.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for being a member. We're 2.5 million strong and growing. And yes, older Americans, younger Americans, it really doesn't matter. And that's one of the great things about this administration and this president is that he appeals to all Americans. But older Americans specifically, we saw in the last election, they were worried about the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris open borders agenda and what that was going to do to Medicare and Social Security. They were worried about the future that their children and grandchildren were going to inherit. And that's why we saw a massive wave of support for President Trump. And that's why we're continuing to see support for his policies from all age groups. You know, seniors, when we talk to them, they're telling us, we love what President Trump is doing. We don't believe the Democrat agenda that they're trying to cancel Social Security and defund Medicare. It's all a bunch of lies. And that's why we're continuing to see such strong levels of support for President Trump.
Look, President Trump needs backup, and there is most certainly strength in numbers. I say this all the time, and becoming an AMAC member helps President Trump and the rest of the Republicans push these issues that are so important across the goal line. Let me tell people, Shane, how people can get a membership to AMAC, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. Here's what you do. Go to amac.us/grant. That's amac.us/grant. Save 47% on a 5-year membership, normally $60, now just $31. All right, amac.us/grant. All right, coming up next, folks, we're going to close it out for you with some final thoughts. Stick around.
They tried to shut them up.
There's no guarantee to free speech.
They tried to cancel them.
Deplatforming works.
They even threw them in jail.
Peter Navarro,
Steve Bannon,
now in prison.
But they couldn't stop them.
It's not a prison bill that will ever shut me up.
They call them rebels.
Basket of deplorables.
They call them rogues.
They claim to values or religion.
And they say they're outlaws.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
War Room presents Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws.
You set out to take Vienna. Take Vienna!
The national bestseller by longtime Bannon producer Dan Fluette. Take a journey through the pictorial history of War Room in a culture that celebrates the weak. Show your support by standing with the rebels. Go to doitfluette.com or scan the QR code on your screen. Use the code RAV20 for 20% off your order. Stand with the rebels and never back down.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a city I used to work at the NBC station, Fort Myers, Florida, a long, long time ago. The city council crying over the fact that it now has to cooperate with ICE.
Thank you for your words and thank you.
Firstenberg. I can't. I sit here to represent my city, but my city is not just all of us sitting here. It's the people that live here. To support you, Chief, to support the intent of the city. I can't stand behind this as an immigrant.
You people are idiots. They're going after people that have been arrested, first for violent crimes. They're not rounding up random people that are here illegally. They're literally going after the worst of the worst. And you're crying about that? They're killing, raping, murdering, dealing drugs to your citizens. Get over it, you crazy liberal lunatics. Get over it. We want a safe America. Stinchfield's army rolls. President Trump is making it happen.
Live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night, the 18th of March, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's going to be here to do some sports. Be a little delayed from his meeting. Rick Delgado's here, though. He's going to do some news. Hi. Vinnie Mac is here. He's going to do some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're in on a Tuesday, wherever you're watching, on Real America's Voice, on social media, YouTube, X, Rumble, Getter, Kick. Wherever you're watching, we appreciate you giving us a few hours, weekdays, 8 to 10 right here, live from Studio 6B. Glad you're in. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
I'm good.
How was your day?
My day was good.
What did you do?
Who's your daddy and what does he do? What did I do? I worked and I played. I ran around. I took people to appointments, and now I'm here. I was trying to get through the JFK files, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm working on that still.
Okay, very good. We'll get to our daily news update here in just 1 second. Vinnie Mac is here. Vinnie Mac, how was your day?
My day was great. I'm on page 49,282 of the JFK files. Boy, man, I think
there's only 18,000.
Oh, I heard 80.
Oh, is that what it is? 80,000.
Yeah, 80,000.
80,000. That's quite a bit. But I had a great day. You know, walked the dog, went to the beach, talked to you.
You did talk to me while you were walking the dog, and why is that?
Talk to you because there's a fan of the show, Kelly, if you're out there watching. She's walking her dogs on the beach. One day we started talking, and she goes, Studio 6B? Is that you? I love that show. But of course, who they really love is Damon.
Yeah.
They thought Damon, this is quote unquote.
These are very bright, smart people.
That's what they said about Damon. Like,
who live out there in foo-foo land like you do. Where do you live? Oh, God. It's just,
they were like, Damon is the smartest guy and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so they don't watch the show.
Oh, God. And I'm like, they watch this show?
Not like you're a part-time viewer or a full-time viewer.
You watch on weekends. Yeah, we love it on the weekends. We watch it Saturday and Sunday
they
night.
were just loving on you. And
we always watch the third hour. It's always the best.
Damon's great in the third hour.
Oh, yeah. So it was good stuff, and you got to say hello.
Yes, I did. And we didn't plan that. I just happened to talk to you because we talk about 18 times a day. You happened to be walking the dog, so I was going to let you go. I was going to say, when you get back home, and you said, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And then you hit me with this, and you're walking with these very smart people, obviously.
And they're excited that we're going to be possibly doing these shows on Friday with a live studio audience.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're going to come. They're locals. I can't wait to start doing that, by the way. Very excited.
Okay. We're going to put Vin out in the audience with a microphone. Right?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Get ready to talk.
Yeah, yes. Get ready to get accosted if you're in the audience, because here comes Vin. You'll be ducking behind the person. No, I hope he doesn't see me.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So
Slick Rick will be ordering food.
Steak sandwiches on Slick.
Steak sandwich and a steak sandwich.
Yeah,
yes. Put it on the Underhills bill. Now, Slick will be good in the audience, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think the problem with Slick being in the audience is it'll just turn into a fashion discussion, which I don't really mind, but that's what it's going to be, right?
Where'd you get that blazer? What do you have? Oh, I love your lapels.
Exactly. I love those shoes.
Who are you wearing today?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's like what they do before the Oscars. They have the runway show.
Yes.
We should do that with Slick.
Perfect. Yes, he'd be perfect. So. All right, well, Vinnie Mac's going to have some news. Delgado will have some news as well. Slick will be here. He's a little delayed, but he will be here. So, Well, let's do before we get to the best news of the day and really America at its finest. And that, of course, is the return of these astronauts. And we'll get into some of that video and talk about that. Let's get into our news update of the night here. We'll start with the Epstein files. Here with that is Rick Delgado. Rick Delgado, an Epstein update, please, for the day.
All
Take
right.
it away.
According to this coming out of the Department of Justice, nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing on Epstein.
All right, there you have it. There's your Epstein update news of the day for Tuesday, March 18th. We'll have another one on Wednesday, March 19th. Now, let's get to the news update of the day, which is the JFK files, which were released. 80 some odd thousand.
80,000 pages.
And, well, before I don't want to become tropical depression Damon for everybody right off the jump. So I'll let you two weigh in first, because a lot of what I've seen... Rick Delgado, I don't know how much time you've had to spend with this. What do you think so far?
Turns out this guy, Sergei, knew that Oswald was going to be killed after killing Kennedy, and that MLK would also be killed, and he knew Kennedy would be killed in Dallas as well, according to one of the pages. There are tons of redactions, of course.
That's what I heard. Tons
of redactions. Unfortunately, because I believe Trump said there's going to be no redactions, but I don't think that would be possible.
Well, I think he said that too, and I've seen a lot of that. Who was defying the president? I've seen a lot of that tonight as these have hit the wire. So,
and it turned out, they blamed it all on Russia. Where have I heard that before? Russia. Yep. Turns out it wasn't Russia.
But for it's not is the question here more the who or the what were they, or meaning the what in like what were they protecting, or who were they protecting, or is it more of like who did this? What are we more interested in?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Because there's two answers. There's answers for both of them. There's who and what were they protecting? What were they protecting? Were they protecting themselves? Because JFK had made it known that he was coming for the CIA, smash into 1 million pieces. And were they protecting their corruption of what they wanted to do, which was, of course, and what was I believe it was Truman who warned about the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, but
so I think it's a combination.
The things that really bothered me, and Damon and I were chatting about this briefly before we went on air, is why not release this all these years? And you have to conclude one thing, because they were hiding something within our government.
Right.
I wouldn't think with an enemy, because the enemies back then, there was Russia, there was Cuba. It's immaterial now, because it's so long. But were we hiding something our guys did? Which is what it looks like. It sounds like that. Why else would they not release it?
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like it all seems like it's pointing to the CIA.
Yeah,
according to a lot of people's take on what they've seen so far. Mentions of the CIA regularly throughout pages and pages and pages. It's amazing.
The other thing is, in order to cover something like that up, a lot of people needed to be involved. I go back to the JFK movie that Oliver Stone made.
Right.
Which was, I thought, phenomenal. And by the way, a lot of the stuff we're going to read about is stuff that was leaked or they thought or might have happened for that movie. But the reality is there was a lot of people that were in the food chain there of covering that thing up. Not just the mafia, not just the CIA. There were so many others, including, the folks that did the autopsy, the local police, all of these things. Then you got the Jack Ruby thing. It just seems like, how did they keep the secret so long with all of these groups, a part of it, possibly? What are your thoughts on that, Rick?
I mean, how do you keep something like that covered up so well?
Yeah.
Threat of death. Right?
That'll do it.
I mean, that'll shut most people up.
That'll do it. Yeah.
When the most powerful organization in the world says, by the way, if you say anything, we're going to kill you and all the people in your family, you probably would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I see nothing. I know nothing. You become Sergeant Schultz.
Deathbed confessions, is what I'd be kind of looking for at that point in time.
Yeah.
So far, the consensus is we have nothing, really?
Well, I mean, I think it's.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I think it's one of those things where a lot of people, everybody's, like Vin was saying, these theories that people had, kind of seems like it's being confirmed.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure as the days go by, people will work their way through it. We'll get more of what's in. I mean, 80,000 pages seems like a lot to cover in a couple hours. Right. So, with the other big news of the day, obviously, is well, let's just think about this. The Dems, who are not having a great, couple months, even half a year, get to watch stranded astronauts that Biden left in space for 9 months get rescued by Elon Musk and SpaceX, and they get to see them get returned to Earth and fall into the Gulf of America.
Yes, they announce it. Yes,
that's another tough day if you hate the country, which most of them do. But here's some footage that just unbelievable.
Stroke window. We can see seat rotation happening inside the capsule. Great to get those first views of our crew members. Once again, the capsules are going about 350 miles per hour when the drogues are deployed. Those drogue parachutes that we manufacture here in-house are going to slow the spacecraft down to 119 miles per hour.
It almost sounds like she's pitching like, hey, go to our store. You could pick them up for yourself.
Well, they have SpaceX has these young hip announcers.
And we are expecting drogue deployment
who do these things. There you go. Look, now you cut to
a great view of Crew 9 inside Dragon Freedom.
Look at that thing move, man.
Oh, this is special.
Is that unbelievable?
This view coming from the WB-57 high altitude plane. And
there you go.
See it on your screen, drogue deployment.
It's so good how they did that, though. They're explaining to us what's happening as opposed to what NASA normally does, which is just them,
I used to see this every week on I Dream of Jeannie. So, it's basically the same technology, right?
Well, that's where
look at this.
He landed, Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, just fantastic, right? I mean, this is the best of America here. This is those moments that you just...
This is the best of
it's
America.
Like when we were young and before obviously, unfortunately, 92, the disaster. But when you used to watch the shuttle take off, when you were a kid, you were like, wow, it just was.
Hey, just like the
Apollos. What you were watching, yeah.
The Apollos were mesmerizing. But that was our government. That was NASA. This is a private citizen who came up with this way of doing it. The rocket goes up, the rocket comes back, it lands, it gets captured. He made this module that they're in right now, which is supposed to be a spectacular piece of engineering. And he went and did it, too. This is an individual. This is someone just like you and I, maybe a little smarter, maybe not as smart as you, based on our fans here live from Studio 6B.
Come on.
But that's what's remarkable to me, because you can see like an entity like NASA with all the people they have putting this together. But this guy did it.
Well, I mean, he hired all the people from NASA because they were let go.
He hired people to do it, but he visualized this. He came up with it and said, look, I want a rocket that we can reuse. That's why we could do this.
Right.
That's why NASA couldn't pick them up. They couldn't do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was beautiful. Did you see the dolphins circling around? I mean, they were like, what's going on up there? This is pretty cool. I mean, it was just an amazing moment.
Those dolphins are from Tesla. He built those too.
One thing, Dave,
makes everything.
I got to mention, I was flipping around trying to see who's covering what, because I wanted to see if CNN was covering this.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake Tapper, who was hosting the show at the time, said the Gulf of America. It's landing in the Gulf of, not sarcastically, he said it. And I was like, wow, Jake, that had to take a lot for Jake. He must have had a few shots of tequila before he went and did that.
Look at this is where you get really good. This is the really good footage. I mean, look at this.
Glass-like ocean off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Crew 9 just minutes away from splashing down.
This is really such an incredible shot.
What a shot that is, yeah.
That's how I look when I go to Great Adventure. Get strapped in, you get ready.
You're on the Thunder Coaster.
All right, live from Studio 6B. We're just getting started. News, and more news and sports all coming up.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. But here's the good news. 4 Patriots is offering a special buy one, get 2 free deal on its best-selling 72-hour survival food kits. Hurry, go to 4patriots.com now.
It's the Stackable Savings Sale at Cabinets to Go.
Come in today for cabinets, countertops, accessories, installation, and more. And start enjoying your dream kitchen for as little as $143 per month. Don't wait. The Stackable Savings Sale ends soon.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
I'm Richard Karn, and I love my hose. It ain't those old hoses. This is my hose. The new Pocket Hose Copper Bullet. Now infused with real copper, so your water is always clean and lead-free. Just turn on the water and watch your hose grow and grow. And when you turn off the water, away it goes. Our new inner tube uses 3 layers of high-strength latex on the inside. Then it's wrapped in a new polymer filament jacket, 3 times stronger than the other hoses. But my favorite part of our new hose build? The oversized, easy-to-grip fittings. Get the super light 25-foot Pocket Hose Copper Bullet today for only $29.99. But wait, call now and get our copper spray nozzle with our exclusive thumb drive free. This is an exclusive release of our newest Pocket Hose. Order now.
Call 1-800-449-7172. That's 1-800-449-7172. Or visit copperbullethose.com. Order now.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch, 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it.
The secret is perfect cook technology for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve.
It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system, all for just $39.99. Order now.
Live from Studio 6B, 17 past the hour. On a Tuesday night, Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Vinnie Max here is going to do some news. Delgado's got the news as well. Aaron Friend holding it down. Slick will be in to do some sports in a little bit. Obviously talking about the return of our astronauts, our men back to Earth after 9 months being stranded from the Biden administration. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams safely splashed down in SpaceX capsule after 9 months on the International Space Station. New York Post today, following a dramatic but smooth return to Earth on Tuesday, months after their days-long jaunt in orbit turned into a headline-grabbing space odyssey. Butch Williams, 62, and 59-year-old Suni Williams splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule just before 6 p.m. Tuesday, concluding a 9-month stint in space that was supposed to be just 8 days when it launched back in June of 2024. Butch Suni, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home. Mission Control Dispatcher Radio. The crew moments after the capsule Dragon splashed down, which you see right there. Less than an hour later, the duo, along with American astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexandra Gorbanov, were extracted from the capsule on board a recovery vessel, and each was filmed beaming, waving, and pumping their fists as they were helped to their feet and whisked away on wheelchairs. The dramatic return started in space around 1 a.m. Tuesday morning, and about 17 hours later, the capsule came into view from Earth as it soared across the Gulf of America at a red-hot 400 miles per hour that set its heat shield aglow in the clear afternoon sky.
Well, that's how Harry drives normally on the highway. You see that glow. I just say, wow. I could not believe that happened today. And Harry's a crazy driver.
Moments earlier, it had been traveling at this is now Big D gets to the studio, 17,500 miles per hour as it descended into the atmosphere for parachutes, obviously, as we saw. The crew was heard telling Mission Control they were all grinning from ear to ear, and radio chatter picked up by CNN moments after the safe landing. And like Vince said, the dolphins and just the whole scene was just quite the thing to watch.
The mechanical dolphins.
And I'm sorry?
Mechanical dolphins. They're not real.
He thinks Elon Musk made the dolphins.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good.
That was a beautiful moment, though. The dolphins there, you have the most advanced technology happening, and then these amazing creatures curious about what's happening. It's a very touching kind of visual. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Rick, no crying on the air here. I know you're getting emotional about that. It's good.
I almost want to call shenanigans. Like, how do you have dolphins on cue? I'm sorry, but there's something about that.
No, they live there in the Gulf.
In the Florida Ocean, yeah.
Something about that, but they're not going to, let me see what's happening over here.
Sure they will.
They don't talk to each other like that. They don't just say, hey, look.
Sure
looks
they do.
like, is that those rescued astronauts? Let's go take a...
No, they just saw something different.
You think it's strange that they found a part of the ocean in Florida that there's dolphins?
No, I'm finding it strange that they just so happen to be there for the photo op. How does that even happen? How does that happen?
Well, that's part of the 80,000 pages. You need to really start reading this. It's natural. The dolphins live in that water.
I understand
all over.
that. So do sharks and so do other fish.
Well,
I didn't see them swimming around trying to figure out, hey, who's over here? Hey, Dora, where the hell are you? No, I didn't.
Rick, I think you're overthinking this one.
Maybe I am. Maybe they were superimposed on there for people to say, "Hey, look! Oh my goodness, this is the greatness of every." I don't know.
Yes,
I'm a little jaded on this one.
No, I can understand the Dolphins.
I feel like the Dolphins put it over the top. They didn't need to do it. It was great the way it was. They edited it. I was like, oh, you went too far with the Dolphins. Yeah, maybe you should have dialed it back a little bit.
Okay, that's the perspective.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No.
Let's. I was going to do the news with Delgado, but I think I'm going to skip that. Let's do the news with Vinnie Mac here. 21 past the hour.
Oh man,
you don't find
Delgado
that
needs
weird?
to go take a shower or something, a cold one at that, and get back to reality.
The Delgado Dolphin controversy.
Vinnie Mac, what's on your mind?
I'm going to keep on this theme because the theme that gets to Elon Musk, and I think everybody in this country should be high-fiving about this guy, right? But let me take it back to the dysfunctional left and just how vile they really are as we see this amazing event we saw today that is just breathtaking with the accomplishment of what Musk has done. When you go back to COVID, when you look at all the information during COVID, forget about the health and all the stuff they lied about and the Wuhan lab and all that, the left used COVID. Trump was doing quite well, in the polling before all this. The left used COVID to change laws and to change a lot of narrative so they can win the election. So they basically took a crisis, made it worse, which is why we're all questioning everything now and all this news is coming out because they lied to us, but purposely to win an election. Then you have their whole move with the illegals. Biden gets in and they open the floodgates at the border. Why did they do that? Clear. They want to change the voting map of this country and alter the swing states, which is why they were sending them all over the place. So this, again, is about power and control. Now you get to today's event. You have astronauts that are up there that the Biden administration could very easily have said, okay, this guy Musk can go get him. Let's get our people back. This is not politics. These are lives. These are human beings that are just doing something that they want to do to help the country and to help the world. And what does the Biden administration do? They play politics again for power. They would just not want someone associated with Donald Trump to do something good. But it's not like a typical political thing. These were lives. Being in space for months, this is not a healthy thing. You think, oh, this is really cool. You're floating around, no gravity. Well, your whole body decomposes.
You're going there for 8 days.
You're going there for 8 days. You're there for 9 months, is it?
Yeah.
Your body, it's not built for that. All of your joints, all of your muscles, your brain, everything. You can't even take a shower, boy. You're talking about hygiene. You got to use wet ones and do all kinds of other stuff, dry shampoo. So here are these people surviving. Sure, we figured out how to survive for 8 days, but they're surviving. And they made politics about this again. They would not give him the win because they wanted to win the election. They wanted the power. They did it with COVID. They did it with the illegals. And they did it here in this microcosm of a hero, our own Tony Stark.
And the juxtaposition, by the way, of what was going on today on the screen and these whack jobs with what was going on with Tesla and these dealerships in Las Vegas and other places is, you know what I mean?
Of course, it's the irony. But I got this whole thing about Musk. He's donated more money than anyone. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, any of these guys for green causes, humanity causes, and anti-Semitic causes. More money than any of them. He's donated. He then creates the biggest thing ever for the left, for the whole green effort, Tesla. A mainstream electric car that people can afford, and they sold. And it's a great product, not a good product. NASA gets $25 billion a year. He creates his SpaceX, and he saves the day, right? NASA gets $25 billion a year. They couldn't do it. And his mother said something recently about all this stuff happening with her son. And I'll read what she said. I don't know if I can read on air, but this is really good. People often misunderstand Elon. He's not motivated by money or fame. He's motivated by the idea of improving humanity, whether it's making electric cars mainstream, reducing the risk of human extinction through space exploration, or ensuring the free flow of information on platforms like X. His goal has always been the same, to leave the world in a better place he found. That's who this guy is, who the left has vilified. That's who he is. He's an amazing
All right, 26:07 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. We're back right after this.
Sitting right now, it could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 35% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus canvas tote bag.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
Allergy season is Navage season.
So when you're dealing with allergies and you've got that stopped up feeling and you can blow your nose and it's a little bit better, using the Navage takes it all away. Put the water in the top chamber, put the pod in, close the lid, put it in your nose, push the button, you're done. It's natural, it's effective, it's fast, probably the best investment you could make if you suffer with allergies.
And for stuffy little noses, pick out the new Navage Baby Aspirator, now at Walmart in the baby department. When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night, March 18th, 30 minutes past the hour. Glad you're in. Slick's here. He's going to do some sports. Slickster, how are you? How was your meeting?
Good, Big D. Good meeting.
How was your day?
Very good. Quick, but good. You know, every day's a busy day.
I like that blue. Have we seen this in Navy before?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We've seen it.
We have?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you have.
All right, very good. I like
Thank
it.
you.
I like the little... You're always well put
Little
together.
pocket
Slick.
square.
Slick, how are you feeling about Live Fridays being with a microphone? Maybe you and Vinnie Mac out in the audience talking to some audience members?
I'm fired up. I got some good outfits for that, too. I'm fired up. But unfortunately, the first Friday, I will not be able to be there. I'm doing something for charity, good cause. So it breaks my heart that I won't be there for your show this Friday. But I'm looking forward to down the road. I think.
Well, how good a cause is it to stiff us?
It's for kids, Big D.
Any cause is a good cause.
They always say.
And I'm bringing the birds, and we're going to the aquarium. That's a big thing.
Just don't say it's for the Dolphins.
No, well, they will be. You know, it is an aquarium, Vin, so there could be some dolphins there.
Okay.
Some sea lions.
Make sure they're real when you get there before you start doing your stuff.
Weird, wacky stuff.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Slick will do some sports. We got to get a check on our March Madness brackets. I think at last check we were at 200 and something.
Wow.
So we'll have to give a.
I haven't registered yet.
We'll have to give a look. Did you have any time to look at the JFK files today, Slick?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay, very good.
Unfortunately.
Just want to check.
Just checking, right? Yeah.
80,000.
What files?
80,000 pages.
Oh, wow.
All right, we're at 264 on our brackets.
Closing in on the
264, so we're trying to get to 300, at minimum 300. We're going to place the top 10 spots with free merch. So fill out your brackets. If you haven't done it yet, you can go to our X at LFS6B, and it's pinned right at the top as the top post. You can click on the link, go right there. And then you can fill out your bracket. They have to be locked before Thursday at noon when the first games tip off. And again, top 10 places.
And you got a fantastic play-in going on right now. Alabama State leading St. Francis, PA 62-60 with 4 to go in the second half, Big D. So play-in going on tonight.
All right, let's do. We'll do some news at Delgado, then we'll do some sports, and then we'll give Slick a little time here to settle in. Let's do the news. Rick Delgado's got it. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, big news coming out of Ukraine and Russia as Trump and Putin agree to seek a limited ceasefire in the Ukraine. The conflict, according to the president, should have never happened to begin with. Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump discussed the implementation of an energy and infrastructure ceasefire and to begin negotiations on the implementation of a maritime ceasefire in the ongoing war in Ukraine. This conflict, like he stated, should have never started and should have been ended long ago with sincere and good faith peace efforts. The readout from the call stated the leaders agreed that the movement to peace will begin with an energy and infrastructure ceasefire. An energy and infrastructure ceasefire appears to refer to the cessation of attacks on those facilities, while a maritime ceasefire presumably would spell the end of Ukrainian strikes on the Russian Black Sea Fleet. It does not necessarily mean an end to the conflict, as convention ground assaults appear to remain fair game. The pair further addressed the Middle East and discussed the need to stop the proliferation of strategic weapons and will engage with others to ensure the broadest possible application. The two leaders shared the view that Iran should never be in a position to destroy Israel. Well, that's interesting when you consider Putin being the other person agreeing to that statement.
I'm surprised to hear that because they are partners, aren't they?
They've been partners, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's some fracturing of that relationship we're not aware of. The two leaders agreed that a future with an improved bilateral relationship between the U.S. and Russia has a huge upside. This includes enormous economic deals and geopolitical stability when peace has been achieved. So it looks like Trump went in there and basically said, look, we can do some good deals and you guys can come out looking great on this, or you can keep doing this stupid stuff and look like an idiot.
I think that's the practical conversation you get with Trump in a discussion like that you would not get from any other diplomat or president.
It comes down to business.
Comes down to transactional and talking turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
Not turkey the country.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean.
So moving on to these shores, and of course, the one who's protecting that border, Mr. Tom Homan. Oh my goodness, I got a 3-banger from Tom Homan. Holy moly, he was out and about. 3 great clips. Of course, he calls out the radical judge for defying logic with the ruling to stall President Trump's deportations of illegal immigrants. He blasted the Obama-appointed federal judge's decision to temporarily halt President Trump's use of the Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport violent illegal immigrants, street gangs, and more, telling Fox News that the decision defies logic. Here's and when pressed by a reporter on this quote-unquote old law, here is cut number 1. Here is Tom Homan doing what Tom Homan does with stupid reporters, making sure they regret it. Cut number 1, check this out.
You say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this is...
How many more terrorists do you plan on deporting to El Salvador?
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. You're using an old law that just so happens to be younger than the Constitution.
I love that guy. Every time they try and pin him, boom.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, he was also taking incoming from across the pond, from the Vatican, believe it or not. Did you hear about this? The Pope is, I guess, out there giving some advice to Tom Homan and to the Trump administration in their quest to clean up our border situation. Here is what Tom Homan had for some advice for the Pope, sending it right back. Here's cut number 3. Check this out.
The Pope this morning had some very harsh words for the...
I got harsh words for the Pope. Pope want to fix the Catholic Church. I'm saying this as a lifelong Catholic. I was baptized Catholic. I was First Communion as a Catholic. Confirmation as a Catholic. He ought to fix the Catholic Church and concentrate on his work and leave border enforcement to us. He wants to attack us from securing our border. He's got a wall around the Vatican, does he not? So he's got a wall around to protect his people and himself, but we can't have a wall around the United States. So I wish he'd stick to the Catholic Church and fix that and leave border enforcement to us.
Sure.
I'm with that. I co-sign that.
Well, the message coming from the Pope is one of open borders. I mean, that's just undeniable, because if you go to Mass on Sunday, a lot of times that's exactly what you'll hear in most of the homilies. At least around here in the Northeast, I've heard it for years.
Really?
Absolutely.
We don't get to church much,
as you can tell. I haven't visited in a while.
Thank God.
But anyhow, like I said, Tom Homan, a 3-banger from him. You know, when you win the Super Bowl, they always ask you, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like he was asked that question about what he will do next if things don't go his way, or while they seem to be under attack for the way they're enforcing the border. Here's cut number 6. Here's what Tom Homan had to say about what he's going to do next. Check this out.
You're going to run out of money. It doesn't look like you're getting support from the Democrats on this. You're going against the judges now. What's next?
Another flight. Another flight every day. The teams are going to be out there every day. Every day, the men and women of ICE are going to be in the neighborhoods of this nation arresting criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats, and national security threats. Lawrence, you're not going to stop us. We made a promise to the American people. The President Trump has made a promise to American people. We're going to make this country safe again. I wake up every morning loving my job because I work for the greatest president in the history of my life, and we're going to make this country safe again. I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
Yeah, good. There you have it.
And that's
love it.
That's the position that they're being put in with these federal judges who obviously think now that they're the de facto lawmakers. And it's a real problem. And this consolidation of power that we've seen in this country over the last 100 years into unelected bureaucrats and unelected judiciary who have no ties or oversight to we the people, and have other than maybe some state judges who face the ballot box, but that's about it. Is becoming, as I've said for months and years, a huge problem and a bigger one every day. Almost every hour it feels like there's another order from some judge somewhere attacking something. Tonight, the latest one is U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes, who was appointed by, well, guess who? Joe Biden, just ruled that the Pentagon can't enforce President Trump's order banning transgender people from serving in the military. So the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military cannot command the armed forces the way he sees fit.
Right. So says some judge that we never heard of.
Correct.
In some district that doesn't really matter, that was appointed by a guy who had no idea what was going on, who should have no say in this at all anyhow. So says that person. They should have no say.
Right. And who's got a great take on not only that, but basically this Aliens Enemies Act. Do we have enough time to play it? Yeah, we do. Stephen Miller just schooling CNN on the Enemy Aliens Act.
Well, this whole clip is about 9.5 minutes. I'm sure we don't have that, but it is worth watching the 9.5 minutes because it is an absolute masterclass in just. I don't even know what the word is for him as far as the intelligence level as opposed to the people he speaks to.
Right.
It is so like two different planets that it's just, I mean, he just absolutely schools the CNN girl.
Yes. Here's cut number 9. It's only about 2 minutes, but well worth it. Check this out.
It says if a predatory incursion is perpetrated by a foreign government. So it lists three qualifying actions. It could be an act of war.
It does say in the very beginning there has to be a declared war against a nation or a state. That's what it says.
No, wrong. Look up the statute. It's on my account on social media.
That's actually where we found it earlier.
It says or a predatory incursion or an invasion. The statute delineates 3 criteria for triggering the Alien Enemies Act. One is an act of war, which, by the way, an invasion is an act of war, but put that aside. One is an invasion, which this is. One is a predatory incursion, which this is. So it actually meets all 3 statutory criteria, but with respect to this particular statute, the proclamation is utilizing the incursion and invasion language in the statute. But this is a very important question, because no, hold on. This is a very important question. You said the way our system works is the President of the United States commands the armed forces of the country, commands the foreign policy of the country, and that's subject to district court review. That is fundamentally untrue.
I never said that, Stephen. I did not say...
That has never been true.
This was not a military operation.
A district court judge can no more enjoin the expulsion of foreign terrorists to foreign soil, that he can direct the movement of Air Force One, that he can direct the movement of an aircraft carrier, that he can direct Marco Rubio to engage in diplomacy in a country or not. Do you think the Supreme Court has any say over this or not? Does the Supreme Court of the United States have any say over the things that you were just outlining right here? I believe what the Supreme Court will say is what I just said, which is that the president's conduct here is not subject to judicial review.
But you are acknowledging that they do, in fact, have a say here, even though you think they may agree with you.
What we are expecting is the Supreme Court to say what has always been the case, which is when the president is using his powers as commander-in-chief, those determinations are not subject to judicial review.
There you go.
Yeah. Of course, the libs on CNN and all of them across media are not interested in really. Of course, the one court that the Constitution, of course, created was the one ultimate court, the Supreme Court. None of the other ones are in there. And of course, the left and the media have spent their years targeting that court. So now that all of a sudden here they are, of course, they're big supporters of the court. Oh, the Supreme Court. When they were in charge, all they wanted to do was take the Supreme Court from 9 to, 17, 18, however many judges they want. It's always in their crosshairs. Now, they're big fans of the court. Oh, the court. You're getting around the court. Big fans of the court they are all of a sudden. Once again.
They are the kings of hypocrisy.
All right, live from Studio 6B. We're back on a Tuesday to wrap up Hour 1 right after this.
This is our last chance to help save thousands of Holocaust survivors who are suffering in the former Soviet Union today. The needs that these forgotten Jews have are something beyond anything you can imagine.
Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, so I ate half of it yesterday, and I had it today for breakfast. And this is what she ate in 2 days, 1 carrot. Please pray for me.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews began this ministry to help elderly Jews living in horrible poverty around the world. We urgently need your gift of $25 now to help provide 1 survival food box with all of the foods they critically need for their diet for 1 month.
I am very proud to partner and align with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. This trusted ministry is giving Christians like me a way to bless elderly Jewish people who live in extreme poverty around the world.
I believe in God, but I sometimes feel maybe He forgot me. Perhaps you could tell my story, and I would find a matching soul that would understand. I face hunger again.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now to help rush 1 survival food box to a Holocaust survivor who is suffering and in desperate need.
This is what God wants from us. Just feed the hungry.
If you hear God's voice, I'm asking you to act now. Do it when it's on your heart. I pray that they'll know in their final months that they're not alone.
Life is precious.
I want to make a point. No matter what happens, I'll always be there for you.
I know. When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she's faced with a difficult decision. Preborn connects with life-affirming pregnancy clinics across the nation and provides them with free ultrasound sessions for expectant mothers. When a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears their heartbeat, it doubles the chance she'll choose life. With your gift of $28, Preborn will provide a free ultrasound for an expectant mother. Visit preborn.com/life to save a baby's life.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Vinnie Max here. It's going to do some news. Delgado's covering the news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. Slickster's here. A little delayed from his meeting. How was your meeting? Did I already ask you that?
Yes, you did. It was very good. I'll tell you that again.
Okay, very good. Ginka Galoba, Slick. Ginka Galoba.
Are you stuttering? This segment brought to you by the Tree of Life.
Let's do some sports. Again, if you haven't signed up for the March Madness bracket and you want to win some merch, top 10 spots this year. Top 10. We're adding 7 more spots. We usually do top 3. Top 10 spots will get free merch from the merch store at livefromstudio6b.com if you can pick a bracket and win enough points to come in the top 10, which I plan on doing. So I'll take away 1 spot. I'll give myself a shirt.
Nice.
Slick, I would expect you to be in the top 10 as well.
I'm going to do my picks. I'm holding off a little. I want to see what happens in the first 4, which are going on right now, before I make my pick.
Okay, very good. Let's get some scores. Let's do an update. Here is Slick Sports, brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell. MyPillow, LFS6B is the promo code to use if you want to shop at MyPillow, whether it's for Easter or anything else you're doing. Shop at MyPillow. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, first four playing, first game underway. Men's Basketball Championship, South Region right now. Good one. 1 second to go in the second half. That'd be 1 second to go in regulation. Alabama State right now leading St. Francis, PA, 70-68. 2-point margin.
Boy, that's the way these games are going to be.
That's exactly, Big D. You took the words right out of my mouth, buddy. That's exactly what it's going to be. And then you got your favorite team, Big D, North Carolina, coming up against San Diego State.
Say goodnight.
9-10 tip-off.
Bye-bye.
Not 20 minutes, Big D.
NC, bye-bye.
Yeah, tarred and feathered, huh? You think the Tar Heels are going down?
I mean, San Diego State's maybe not tonight, but if not tonight, the next one.
You know what's amazing, though, is that, what do you call it, West Virginia, who you were lobbying pretty hard for last night, right?
Yeah.
They lost their coach.
They opened an investigation. Did I tell you that, Morrissey?
Yeah.
What happened?
They didn't make the tournament, so the Attorney General opened an investigation on how North Carolina possibly could have gotten in.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. So really great stuff. But 70-68, Alabama State right now, and that looks like that's the game just now. Alabama State will be moving on, Big D, and we'll see what happens with that. We're going to check in on that North Carolina game shortly. So good stuff. To the ice we go. NHL action. Senators 2-1 over the Canadians. End of 2. Also end of the second period. Flames over the Rangers in the Garden. 2-1. Islanders getting blanked by the Penguins down in Pittsburgh. End of 2-2. Nothing. Red Wings and Caps tied at 1, end of 2 as well. Ovechkin closing in on Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. I don't know if it's going to get broken this year. I think he needs 8 goals to go, but that is going to be absolute stunning.
I'm happy about that, but I don't want to see Gretzky's record broken.
I'm with you, Vin. I'm old school. I want to see my boy Wayne stay. But nobody will ever break his total points because that guy had assists. He'd get an assist in the parking lot when a guy was punching his ticket.
Order a box of Cracker Jacks, give him an assist.
Absolutely. Perfect. So, and Blues right now leading the Predators 2-0. End of 1. Back to the ice we go. End of 1. This game's the Stars over the Ducks 1-0. Blackhawks in Chicago leading the Kraken 1-0. 5 minutes gone into the first period there. Utah Hockey Club taking on the Oilers out in Edmonton. That's a 9 p.m. puck drop coming up in about 10 minutes. And then at 10 p.m., the Jets are out in Vancouver. The Pacific Rim, gentlemen, 10 p.m. And hosting that game would be the Vancouver Canucks, of course. NBA action right now. Hawks blowing out the Hornets 109-82. About 10 to go there in the fourth. 10 to go in the third. Nets right now over the Celtics. 52-50 in the TD Garden up in Boston. Bucks Warriors 10 p.m. Drop there in San Francisco, tip off, and Cavs and Clippers also 10:30 tip off out in Clipper World there in LA. It could be Crypto.com Arena. So again, we'll get back to those scores on the NCAA play-ins as well. And want to get to a quick. If I got 2 seconds, I'd like to get into a quick story or two.
You got 5 minutes.
All right, let's talk about Tracy Morgan last night, Rick, at the Garden.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord. You know, he went to that game. They asked him who was going to win. He says, I don't know. It looks like a toss-up. Food poisoning caused vomiting during Knicks game. This is an AP report out of New York.
Well, they started slow.
They sure did. Tracy Morgan had the shiny. Says food poisoning was to blame for his taking ill during Monday's Heat-Knicks game at Madison Square Garden, and that he's doing okay. Of course, this went viral, literally. The actor-comedian posted an update on Instagram on Tuesday morning, along with a smiling photo from a hospital bed, thanking fans for their concern. Morgan also suggested humorously that perhaps his health episode spelled good luck for the Knicks. I'm doing okay now, and doctors say it was food poisoning. Appreciate my MSG family for taking such good care of me, and I need to shout out the crew that had to clean that up. Appreciate you, Morgan wrote. More importantly, the Knicks are now 1-0 when I throw up on the court, so maybe I'll have to break it out again in the playoffs. He quiped, ending his post with a hashtag go Knicks hashtag. Obviously, young man, right? What is he, 56 years old? Grew up as a lifelong Knicks fan. Yeah. Tracy Morgan, great actor. Of course, he's been through hell and back, this gentleman. But Morgan vomited in the second half of Monday night's Heat-Knicks game, interrupting the action at Madison Square Garden with 6:09 left in the third quarter while workers cleaned up the area around his seat. The delay lasted more than 10 minutes. The Knicks went on to win 116-95. Longtime Knicks fan Morgan, 56 as I mentioned, was featured prominently during the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary weekend events at at both the SNL 50, the homecoming concert, and the live NSL 50, the anniversary celebration special. Apparently, all of this went viral, including that moment last night at the Garden, literally. So good stuff, and we're glad to see Tracy Morgan is okay. It wasn't really a major health episode where the young man was having a stroke, God forbid, or something like that. Thankfully, he took bad food, MSG. Yeah. He probably should have had no MSG when he went to that restaurant.
Could he throw up on some judges? Maybe?
Exactly.
You think that's possible?
All right, Slick,
some courts?
Very good. Well, Slick will have some more sports. Did you guys see Schumer on The View?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of
yeah.
Oh, boy.
Schmucky Schumer went on The View, and guess what? I mean, again, I said this the other day. It seems like the Democrats' plan for the rough spell they're having and trying to figure out how the last two polls that came out, the NBC poll and the CNN poll, have them at historically toilet level of approval. Their answer is to double down on what they've been doing for the last 4 years. That's just more of that.
Yeah.
More of the 90-10 hill to die on issues seemingly is what they're going to do. And so Schmucky goes on The View with those bimbos, dumbasses, Joy Behar, and not so sunny Hostin. And what does he do? He immediately starts mocking you, the people.
Yeah.
Again. So-called greedy, quote-unquote, Americans, as he says, because you want to keep more of your hard-earned money.
Yeah.
And wanting less government control over their lives. This is what he's upset about. That this is what you want.
Yeah.
Think about this as this is their platform. This is their platform. Here is, if you didn't see it, Chuck Schumer on The View this morning.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay.
He had to read that,
That's
he had to read that.
Oof, they were playing music. They were playing him out.
Yeah,
right.
I heard the outro music.
It looked like Whoopi was like they were trying to go to break and let's get him off of here.
They should go to break.
Who told him that's the message? I mean, yeah. I'm happy that he does it because you see where they really are. This is where they truly what they believe.
From a guy who's done nothing, who's built nothing, who's created
offered nothing, right? Lived off your dime his whole career, lived off the public dole his whole career, never created anything, never made anybody's lives better, never created anything, never ran a company, never delivered a service, never delivered a product, never did anything to make anyone's life better. Just lived off the public dole, is telling you that you should, for those of you out there actually working, actually building things, actually interested in upward mobility in this country and doing stuff, that you are greedy and unresponsive to your government because you need more of them in your pocket and you need to give more money to Chuck Schumer so he can go put more windmills up someplace. That's where they're at. And just openly telling you, this is their winning message going into the new cycle. Unbelievable. All right, wrap on hour one, hour two coming up.
Hello friends, Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
Wounded Warrior Project empowers post-9/11 veterans and their families with life-changing programs and services.
I faced my PTSD, and I'm a better husband and father because of it.
We help warriors get the expert care and support to thrive.
I got involved. I got healthier. I got to be an athlete again.
Through our programs, community, and advocacy, we're proving
anything is possible.
Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/connect.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
It's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
Hey, Real America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter. That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec.
And so many more.
And the best part?
You can watch Real America's Voice right there on Getter.
Live.
So join the conversation.
Hop on the Getter chat room.
Engage with patriots who are just like you.
Good morning, Getter friends.
We're breaking news, we're delivering the truth, and we're doing it on Getter
every single day. So don't wait. Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
It isn't just an app. It isn't just a social media platform. It's a community.
Hour 2 live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's doing the news. Vinnie Mac's got some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. I want to thank everybody for, of course, tuning in each and every night wherever you're watching. YouTube, Getter, X, Rumble, Kick. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you head over to livefromstudio6b.com and sign up to be a member over there. Livefromstudio6b.com, where you can find all past shows, all past segments, all of our merch. You can find our LFS6B Front Row Loyalty Club, which I think we gave points, last night, if not tonight. For those who are always active in the chat, we always appreciate that. So if you haven't signed up yet, it's absolutely free. Go over to livefromstudio6b.com, livefromstudio6b.com. A couple new things coming to livefromstudio6b.com. People who the show is going to be partnering with, some new sponsors, which is going to be great and you're going to love. I take a long time to find things that I actually want to bring to you because I get approached with a lot of stuff, and by the time I meet with the people and actually look at it, I think, I'm very particular. And I'm bringing a couple things that I hope you're going to like, that I think you will. So that's coming up at livefromstudio6b.com as well. Slick's going to do sports, but let's do some news here in hour 2. You know, I don't want to spend the whole show on the judge thing, but these judges acting as all of a sudden de facto lawmakers is really a real problem. And you look at Chief Justice Roberts today in the statement that he decides to put out, pushing back against the President of the United States, talking about this judge, and you just have to ask yourself, how out of bounds and clueless is this guy to make that statement? Do you remember John Roberts ever making a statement in Biden's 4 years as they took direct aim at him and his court, or when AOC took direct aim at him and his court, or when Biden right in front of them at the State of the Union basically said, they're not going to stop me? Almost looked right at him when he said it. Do you remember John Roberts ever coming out with a personal statement that he just decides to make? I mean, he's so out of bounds in this statement today. It's crazy. And this is what we always talk about. Him and Amy Coney Barrett are more worried about how they're portrayed. What other reason would he make this statement today?
Yeah.
Other than to have the left-wing media be able to see, oh, is this Geraldo Rivera, how important it is that the Chief Justice pushes back against this.
Chief Justice should shut up.
Exactly.
And say nothing, because they should not show any bias on anything.
Because they're supposed to be impartial.
This seismic shift that's happened in this country of power into the unelected is really showing its face here to become a huge problem, where these judges all of a sudden think they're the de facto lawmakers, sticking their nose. I saw this article today on some of the numbers. Last month alone, district court judges issued 15 temporary restraining orders. Where does that rank in what we've seen in what we saw in the Biden administration? That's more nationwide injunctions than there were issued in the first 3 years of the Biden administration. It's completely out of control. It has nothing to do with calling balls and strikes. It's purely political. Pushback against the guy in the office that they don't like. That is what it is.
That's exactly right. You know, the deep state was the deep state, right? They were all these left wingers working in federal working inside the government. The deep state is within our judges now. And you know what I say about this? I would love to see this be a position the Trump team takes. They're going to get controversy for it, but I think this is what you do. And what you do is you simply defy their orders. They don't have standing. They shouldn't have standing. They can't make political and they can't change political rules that we're trying to implement that he got elected for. I say ignore them and just do it as you go forward. And then the Supreme Court will have to get involved because you're going to defy the court. And I think that's the only way to do it at this point. You can't keep listening to the court. Just defy them.
Yeah, let it go all the way to the Supreme Court so you can get a ruling that'll codify the power of the president. Which is basically what they're trying to do. They think they can stop him or at least slow him down long enough that maybe he'll retract or not follow through. But all this does is fortify really the power of the president. It's working against them. They don't realize it yet because they think, oh, we got to win in a district court. Well, that's not going to be the end of this. It's going to go up the ladder, and once it gets there, once it's codified, then you're done, and then it has the reverberation where now you're like I said, you're codifying that power of the president. It's now spelled out, purely spelled out from the Supreme Court when it gets there that this is the power of the president. You have no voice. Shut up. And go away.
But you know the other thing, Rick,
I think you're giving way too much credit to the Supreme Court and John Roberts taking some of these cases. Yeah. I think you're giving way too much credit that it's actually going to get there.
That's my point, though. It's probably not. They're not going to step in till they have to, till they're forced to step in. And how do you force them to step in? You say, go fly a kite. We're doing this. We're breaking up USAID. It's being done.
Nobody's being rehired.
They're not being rehired. Right. We're sending these criminals out of the country. We're ignoring you, okay? Until the Supreme Court intervenes and says what they have to say, because the Supreme Court's not. You got Justice Roberts coming out with a bunch of baloney and clearly showing his cards here, to be frank. Because George Soros
today is ridiculous. It's so out of bounds.
So out of bounds. But one thing about these Dems, man, they're just a nasty, nasty bunch. And their goal seems to be to destroy the country because they allowed a guy like George Soros and others to get judges in here that don't judge. They're political henchmen. They have people in the deep state. The same thing. This is what they've done. They've littered our government and our judicial system with these maniacs. And I think the only way to fight it, and I have a friend of mine that's going to be yelling at me about this tomorrow because he's like, well, Trump's a dictator if he defies it. No, he's not. He's forcing the Supreme Court to do what they're supposed to do. which is to let us know what the powers the president really has, okay?
Yeah.
That we think he has. So you know what, Trump, if you're watching, screw him. Don't listen.
This whole idea of judicial review, the citizens of this country vote to shape their government around their ideals and what they believe in. That's why we have elections. And now that you have this judiciary that's taken this idea of judicial review and basically has morphed it into some tool for them to decide, as an unelected, not a representative really of the people, to impose their own interpretations on these constitutional issues that come up. And when you look at the citizenry and they take the time to go vote, they take the time to put a president in place that represents their values, that represents what the government that they would like to see to shape the ideas that they believe in at the time. And then you see this, what did I say the number was? 15 in 1 month. Judges saying, oh, no, it was a screw the will of the people. We don't like this personally. So we're just going to decide that we have some check on your executive power that's, I don't know where they think it comes from to this degree.
No.
Well, they've been empowered until the Supreme Court steps in and puts these courts in their place. They're going to believe they have this power, and it's almost like the Trump administration. If they don't want to defy it, then they should just. We see your judge shopping. We raise you a judge shopping. Go find a judge that will overrule this judge and say, okay, now go scratch.
That's what they do.
That's all they do.
The irony of these judges that are doing these things is they have a track record of doing extremely progressive rulings over and over. This one judge that made the ruling about the cartel guys being deported was the same person who was on the FISA judge panel.
Right.
When those FISA things came through, which were lies and bogus and should never have been approved. And it is a laundry list of things. And by the way, they all have that. It's a clear bias. No different than that Marchant, whatever, that judge in New York with on the Trump case. Yeah. That guy was as dirty and nasty as they come. It's clear. If the Supreme Court doesn't see that, man, we got some really bigger problems than what we're talking about here if the Supreme Court does not see this.
Well, the Supreme Court started this back when when Justice Roberts rewrote the Obamacare law, right?
Yeah.
He did it.
There you go.
That was his indoctrination to the left.
Yes, so, it was. I mean, he rewrote it twice, by the way.
Right. Just so they could rule on it the way Obama wanted it ruled on.
Treated as a tax or whatever the nonsense was at the time.
Yeah, it's a troubling issue. And I think even with what I was suggesting, Trump just ignoring it, that's what you're going to hear. He's a dictator. This is what he's doing. He's not listening to the courts.
Well,
but we only have one court.
Everywhere. You guys say that anyway. Even when he does listen.
He's going to say it anyway. So that's why I say just do it and force the Supreme Court's hand. By the way, they ruled already once, and we lost 5-4. Last ruling, they were trying to shut down one of the local courts, right? Which was it? Sending $2 billion or whatever the hell it was. We lost. How did we lose that? You wonder what's going on with the Supreme Court. What are they doing?
Our guy Bill Shipley, Shipwreck Crew over at Red State, said he doesn't think these injunctions would not survive appeal. He said, I think SCOTUS will end up staying several of these, take up a small number, and then issue a small number of decisions that will force district judges to reconsider and rethink their rulings. But they are unlikely to take a lot of these cases up, just what we said, individually, to decide them on the merits. They will rely on district judges to change their decisions and the appeal courts to smack down those who don't. But the more urgent question is, what right does a district court, which handles the matters in a designated geographical area, have to issue nationwide injunctions and rule for 330 million people? That is the question.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That is the point. That's why the Supreme Court has to intervene at a high level and why you force them to do it. Because what you just read, but they're going to, maybe handpick a few things and selectively select these and do a few. They're letting these judges run the country. It's unconstitutional, number one, and it's completely wrong. But that entire thesis is wrong. You can't let them keep doing this. They just can't let them keep doing this. They have to intervene.
It's literal madness. And it's getting almost like one-upsmanship, I feel like, between them. It's like, oh, yeah. Well, look at mine.
Yeah.
Look at mine.
Look how crazy.
Here's another one. It's like every day we get 3 of them. All right, live from Studio 6B. More sports and news coming up.
Sitting right now, it could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It actually releases endorphins in the brain. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 35% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus canvas tote bag.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 1-800-592-1572 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Sound Like the Blues. Did you know that you can join AMAC today for just $1? That's right, $1 for a 1-year membership. $1, 1-year membership. I want to encourage all of you to visit amac.us/Studio6B, amac.us/Studio6B, and activate this limited time opportunity. Just listen to all that you get for only $1. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, works tirelessly to advocate for the values that matter most to Americans like you: small government, strong borders, election integrity, and protecting your constitutional rights. Becoming an AMAC member gives you access to free advice on Social Security and Medicare, ensuring you get the help you need when you need it most. As an AMAC member, you stay informed and trusted with their news through the AMAC's Newsline, the Better for America podcast, and your subscription to the award-winning AMAC magazine. Plus, members enjoy exclusive money-saving discounts on travel, hotels, insurance, restaurants, and so much more. For a limited time, join AMAC and receive all of these benefits for just $1 for your first year. Normally $16. You can take advantage of all these benefits. Help save America for only $1. Join today. Visit amac.us/Studio 6B or call 1-888-262-2006. That's amac.us/Studio 6B or call 1-888-262-2006. Join now and save America with AMAC. amac.us/Studio 6B. Well, let me talk to you about our friends at My Patriot Supply. You've seen it before when disaster strikes, grocery store shelves go empty, well, just about overnight. The worst time to prepare is during the aftermath. By then, it's already too late. Smart Americans trust My Patriot Supply to help them prepare before crisis comes. And right now, they're making it easier than ever. You can order their 4-week emergency food supply today and get 4 72-hour food kits completely free. That's almost 2 weeks of bonus meals at no cost. Each of these kits offers over 2,000 calories per day of delicious, easy-to-prepare meals that can last up to 25 years. That's real peace of mind. No last-minute panic, no empty shelves, just knowing that you're covered. Stock up today before this deal disappears, because when an emergency hits, food will be the first thing to go. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com to claim your kit, plus an extra 12 days of food absolutely free. MyPatriotSupply.com. Go right now, MyPatriotSupply.com. All right, 20 minutes past the hour. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. MyPillow, LFS6B is the promo code to use at MyPillow. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, getting ready to tip off here down in Dayton, Ohio. South Region Game 2, UNC and San Diego State. UNC, Big D's not happy about North Carolina making it into the first 4 play-in.
No, it's an outrage.
It's an outrage, but they're 4.5-point favorites. But a lot of folks are on the San Diego State track and a train tonight, so we'll see what happens on that. Of course, Alabama State won earlier in a thriller, 70-68, but they get a trip to play on in Lexington, Kentucky against number 1 Auburn, Big D. So you're right, that probably will only be a 1 out, and that'll be it for them, because
Auburn's got
the Tigers look good.
I mean, they don't look good in their last 4. They lost 3 of them, so they've got to get back to their. I think they probably will. Bruce Pearl, number 1. I love Bruce Pearl. He is outspoken. He makes no bones about where he stands on things.
I like him.
When it comes to Israel and other things with the president. And he's a great coach. And they probably are, if not, well, Florida is pretty well-rounded. I mean, they're probably the all-around best. Obviously, Duke, we'll see what they do. We'll see what the health of Cooper is. But don't sleep on Auburn. They just got to get it back turned around to the way they were playing before their last 4 games.
Yeah.
They played good teams, though. I mean, their schedule was ridiculous. So don't count them out.
They're not a 1 seed going in for nothing. And
the overall number 1, by the way.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I think
even with losing 3 or 4, they're the overall number 1.
I think Alabama's going to stop. They're going to stop at Starbucks for a cup of coffee, because that's about as long as it's going to last for them. I think that game will be over in the first half, but we'll see what happens. Hey, I talk a good game too with these NCAA games, but like you said, Big D, it's anybody's tournament. It really is this year, more so than I've seen in the last 30 years.
Good luck with a bracket this year, because the parity in college basketball with NIL is just, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, this is like a pin the tail on a donkey bracket. You might as well put blindfolders on and just pick the colors of the jerseys, because you got a better shot at winning that way. There might be some expert will be on to it, but man, it is a tough call this year. Let's switch gears. Big D. Putin says Trump agrees to hockey games between U.S. and Russia. This came out a little bit while ago. They have Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart reporting. President Trump agreed in principle to Russian leader Vladimir Putin's proposal of a series of hockey games between the U.S. and Russia during the pair's nearly 3-hour phone conversation earlier today. During Tuesday's confab, Putin Putin reportedly discussed the idea of a hockey game between the two rival nations. Now, I think Putin was probably upset because they weren't involved in that play-in, and
that's
great.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's like, I got to get a little taste of that too.
Yeah,
and you know, the president, he's always up to a challenge. You know? According to information released by the Russian government, Putin proposed that the teams be culled from the National Hockey League in the U.S. and the Continental, with a K, Hockey League in Russia. Donald Trump supported Vladimir Putin's idea to organize hockey matches in the USA and Russia between Russia and American players in the NHL and KHL. The Kremlin stated in a statement published after the call. Yahoo News reported. The report states that Trump generally agreed to the idea, but plans for such a game will be arranged later. The president's agreed to stay in touch on all issues raised. The Russian news release. See, sports always works its way into these things. It's great. The proposal comes after Russia was isolated from international sports as a consequence of its invasion of Ukraine starting in 2022, and I might add, rightfully so. For instance, not long after the invasion began, the International Ice Hockey Federation banned Russia teams from competing in its sanctioned events. The last time Russian athletes were admitted to the world stage was when Russia won the silver medal in hockey at the 2022 Beijing Olympics, which occurred just before the Russian forces invaded Ukraine. So pretty exciting, Big D. I'd love to see that. I mean, Russia's got some dynamite players. We know the U.S. has got some phenomenal players this stage of the game. I don't know if it's going to live up to Lake Placid 1980. You know, I don't think it's going to get that crazy, Al Michaels, but it could be pretty fun on the world
keep
stage
in mind what went on at Lake Placid was the Russians were being banned from all this stuff, and they decided to come.
That's right.
Right?
That's
they
right.
decided to come. It's exactly what happened.
Because the Summer Olympics were boycotted.
The Summer Olympics were boycotted. Yeah. Carter boycotted them, and the Russians decided to come here because they wanted to whoop our butts.
They did.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the politics, I don't like when politics gets involved in sports like this. You know? Yeah. Nobody likes the Ukraine situation, but they should have played. They're the best players in the world, or some of the best players in the world. Yeah. You know? I mean, Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record. He's Russian.
I know, that's crazy, and that's going to happen. So some story. All right, Big D, that's a wrap in sports just underway. North Carolina, San Diego State.
All right, Slick. Very good. We'll do some more sports before we wrap it up. Delgado's got a little bit of news. We'll do some when we get back as well. What else is going on, Delgado?
Well, just to jump on what you were talking about with the Supreme Court and Justice Roberts, stunning link revolved. This was sent to us from Lone Star 6 in the Rumble chat. Chief Justice Roberts' stunning link to the rogue judge is revealed. Not only is he the one who helped appoint him to the FISA court back in 2014. But also, this is the same judge who was in charge of the FISA court from 2020 to 2021, overseeing key surveillance requests, including rulings tied to the Trump-Russia investigation. And, of course, Chief Roberts is the one who put this guy in that position. So critics are arguing this raises serious concerns about political bias within the judiciary, especially given the FBI's later admission of critical errors in the FISA process, but that the judge just seemed to go along.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
such a mess.
So you have a tie in there with Justice Roberts, putting out that statement today, almost defending his pal,
his buddy.
Judge Boasberg.
Don't forget, like Roberts at the swearing in of President Trump's inauguration, how he screwed that up too, by the way. I'm still not convinced it wasn't on purpose.
Okay, try to find some loophole, right, to get him out.
18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Miles Grimard, Brickhouse Nutrition, will join us when we get back.
Navage, allergy relief that works.
So when you're dealing with allergies and you've got that stopped up feeling and you can blow your nose and it's a little bit better, using the Navage takes it all away. Put the water in the top chamber, put the pot in, close the lid, put it in your nose, push the button, you're done. I love Navage. It's natural, it's effective, it's fast. Probably the best investment you could make if you suffer with allergies.
Pick up Navage, the #1 doctor-recommended brand.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta or brittle-bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.3 million kids just like me, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball.
Because of people like you, I can run.
I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go to loveshriners.org right now and give just 63 cents a day, you're helping kids just like me.
Like me. Like me.
When you give today, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch, 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it. The secret is perfect cook technology for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve. It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system, all for just $39.99. Order now.
Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we've got Slick Rick. He's got some more sports. We'll do some more with Vinny in just a bit. Let's do some news, though, because there's a lot of stuff going on that you haven't heard about. Some of it is kind of funny. I thought this was my top story of the day when I read it this morning. I thought it was like, well, this is totally Trump. Prince Harry can breathe freely because, according to this, President Donald Trump has ruled out deporting the self-exiled British royal. Yes.
Big story.
Harry's immigration status is the subject now of litigation in Washington, D.C., with the Heritage Foundation alleging that he may have concealed past illegal drug use, which he admitted to in a book, that should have been disqualified.
What a surprise.
That should have disqualified him from obtaining a U.S. visa. But the president told the New York Post the other day that he isn't interested in throwing Harry out of the country. He said, I don't want to do that. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible.
Harry on the highway? Is that what we're talking about here? Oh, man.
Yeah, so there you have it.
Man.
I wish I could have found that soundbite because that would have been awesome.
Trump's got a heart. He feels bad for Harry. He's he's got a difficult wife, and he's been thrown out of England essentially.
Well, he also said that he thinks that Prince Harry was pretty disrespectful. He did an interview. I forget who you did an interview with, President Trump, where he's talking about the Queen. Mm-hmm. And he has a lot of respect. He says, I have a lot of respect for the Queen. I thought she was wonderful. She was a wonderful person. He has a lot of respect for the royal family, the whole idea of the British royal family.
Unlike you.
He holds them in high esteem. Okay. So when he saw that, Harry was leaving and some of the things that were coming out that were being said about the family, he was offended by. Because he, like I said, he views the British royal family as something, I guess, iconic.
And they also shouldn't be talking out of school like that.
Right.
I mean, it's the most sort of like obvious way to make money if you're a royal. You get out and then you tell secrets and you get paid and you make a book and you do all this stuff. To me, it's just shallow.
Right. Yeah. So he foresees different things happening for Harry. Maybe maybe going back. He's not sure, but he's not going to deport him.
Okay.
So there you have it. And I know we were talking about this as well. Of course, everybody freaking out about the Elon Musk, of course, saving the astronauts and bringing them home today. But this story coming out of Las Vegas, authorities said damage at a Tesla service center in Las Vegas, including cars set ablaze, had all the hallmarks of terrorism. Here it is. Check out this clip, cut number 4, as you can see it for yourself here. Check this out. These are the Teslas that were being set on fire. The suspect, who police said used Molotov cocktails and shot 3 rounds into the vehicles at the Tesla Collision Center in Las Vegas, was on the loose, according to the Metropolitan Police Department. Video that captured the attack showed someone dressed in all black damaged at least 5 Teslas, 2 of which were engulfed in flames, that you can see there at 2:45 a.m. The word resist was also painted on the door of the facility, and at least 3 gunshots were fired into the cars, according to the police. According to Sheriff Dory Corrin at a press conference, said that this was a targeted attack against the Tesla facility. I think anybody could have told you that. The suspect used multiple incendiary devices set to set the Teslas on fire, one of which was found in the car unexploded. The incident is also being investigated by the Clark County Fire Department and the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. Agents have been on the scene since early Tuesday morning, according to the FBI in charge, Spencer Evans. Evans said that while it's too early to call the incident an act of terrorism, even though the sheriff did, it still has all the hallmarks of it and potential political agenda behind the violent acts like this that are unacceptable regardless of where they occur. According to Evans, he said at the press conference, it is a federal crime as well, he said. We will come after you. We will find you, prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Of course, Tesla CEO Elon Musk responded via video shared by the Las Vegas Review, saying this level of violence is insane and deeply wrong. Tesla just makes electric cars and has done nothing to deserve these evil attacks. So there you have it.
It goes beyond that, though, Rick, if I may.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
You have people that sell the cars, they make money. People that have the dealerships, they are independent, they're business people, they're entrepreneurs. People that service these cars, they're business people, they're entrepreneurs, and all the product that goes into making these cars, all of that stuff, they're penalizing all of these people that have nothing to do with politics, and nor does the car. Nor does the product line and all that kind of stuff. But it's all this collateral damage of all these other people. They need to lock these people up. You have to make examples of these people.
This is terrorism, right?
This is terrorism. It's no different than the riots we saw in the cities.
It's no different than the mostly peaceful protests that turned into fire engulfed buildings and cars and people being shot and attacked. It's terrorism.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And if they can't see that, the people that are committing these things, then hey, just beware. You will be caught and prosecuted according to the FBI. So
yeah, good.
Let's hope that happens.
And well, thank God we have someone like Kash Patel.
Yes.
And Pam Bondi in there. Dan Bongino to go and take this because, frankly, most government folks wouldn't do it. It's like too political, you know.
And that's why you bring people in from the outside who is like, hey, we don't care about politics. We're not trying to get elected for something, and we don't care. And that's the best part is that these, somebody like a Bongino, he built his media empire, quote unquote, and he doesn't have to care about money now, which gives him that kind of freedom to say, you know what, I don't have to worry about getting somebody angry, a congressman angry or something, or a representative angry, or somebody on the inside angry because we're doing our job. I don't have to worry about my promotion or my, my pension being under fire.
It's crazy. I think Trump said it quite well. You remember the whole Budweiser thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I didn't see anyone on the right, destroying Budweiser distribution trucks or setting Bud cans on fire or burning down a bar.
Right.
I mean, none of this.
No.
None of this happened. This is only the left. I got in a lot of trouble with a friend of mine by criticizing the left as a violent group of people.
But they
resort to it. But they are. There's no way around it.
Who's your friend?
How many?
I'll tell him. You are a violent group of people.
Oh, I got so railed on over saying that. And, my response to him was, they are. Because look, what the left does is they do things, right? They do things and they put policies in place and they're violent. What they say about the right is what we might do. What's especially about Trump? What might he do? Oh, he might do this or he might do that. But they do the bad things,
right? And
there's a track record of it.
And turn around and go, Trump might do that.
Trump might do that. This hypothetical of Trump, but they're violent. Antifa, they supported Antifa.
Yeah.
Violent. Then they're like, well, January 6th. I'm like, you know what? Nobody got killed January 6th.
No.
Anyhow, that was a little crazy, but it's not like these riots we saw. I was in LA for those riots. Okay. I rode my bike to the beach. They were pulling people off bikes and beating the hell out of them. I saw stores that said, I'm black owned. Don't break this.
Right.
Don't break in. It was appalling. Because they were violent. If you weren't part of that, you would toast. You would burn down.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's and nobody took any of them to task.
No,
none of them were prosecuted.
They were just let it go and kind of look the other way.
Yep. Well, more than look the other way. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, slap on the wrist. If anything, if they happen to get arrested, they got a slap on the wrist, and probably got a promotion at work.
And I think at some point, people like us, we're just regular people in this world that just want good things to happen. We're going to get so pissed that, we might not put up with this anymore.
Right. Well, there's more of us
at some point.
About time we do.
And that's the problem they don't understand. There's way more of us than them. It's just we're not loud about
as
it.
vocal.
Well, we don't do dumb stuff like that. I'm not going to go not do business with someone because there's some chef in a restaurant that wouldn't serve Trump supporters in there, and he got fired. And rightfully so, fired. But how many times have you seen that sentiment?
Right.
You can't come in this restaurant. You can't buy cookies in this bakery. You can't do any of this stuff. Really?
Ridiculous.
I mean, really? I'm just feeding my family, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
True.
No, we don't do that.
No, we don't have to.
No, we're not spiteful like that.
And maybe we weren't drinking Budweiser. Right? Maybe some of us didn't drink Budweiser.
Totally stopped.
Dilly Dillon.
Yeah.
Right.
That's our level of violence. We close our wallets. Yeah. That's as violent as we get. We go, oh, you don't want our business? Good. I'll go spend it somewhere.
There's free speech and there's yelling fire. Okay? We're free speech. We will express ourselves. We're not yelling fire and we're not hurting people.
Right.
And that's what the left is doing. And they get away with it. Because they control these judges and all this other stuff.
They've been getting away with it. I feel like that door is starting to close.
Yeah,
so
I'm with
hopefully it continues to close, and we snag a bunch of them, and they get taught the lesson that they should have been taught a long time ago. I guess you didn't get hugged enough at home. Anyhow, hey, check this out. I don't know if you remember this story. Remember those IRS whistleblowers who blew the lid on the whole Hunter Biden investigation, that they were stopped? IRS special agents, they were named Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler. Well, they came out, of course. They received a lot of retaliation after blowing the whistle to Congress and speaking out to CBS News about political interference into their investigation into Hunter Biden's tax crimes. Well, guess what? Turns out those boys, they done good. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has promoted those two agents to the Internal Revenue Service, to be from the Internal Revenue Service to the Treasury Department, and put them in charge of investigations into, wait for it, the IRS. Yes, here he is talking about it. Cut number 2, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent promoting those two IRS whistleblowers and flipping the tables on the IRS. Cut 2.
The culture of being able to come forward when you see wrongdoing is a central part of our democracy. I saw these two fellows before the president's address to Congress in Speaker Johnson's office. They came over to me and said, sir, we're still being harassed. And I had been in touch with Senator Grassley about what was happening to them, but seeing them in person really brought it home for me. So I went and decided I would bring them into Treasury, give them a year to investigate the the wrongdoing that's going on at the IRS, and then they will go back in. Mr. Shapley will serve as the senior deputy for investigations and enforcement. So we'll have them in Treasury. We'll learn what's been going on at the IRS, what's been wrong, how could this Hunter Biden nonsense have happened, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone again, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, or independents.
Yeah, so there you have it. Congratulations to the IRS special agent whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, for their new jobs investigating the IRS. Ha, ha, ha. That's one of those FAFOs.
Little sweet revenge,
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Little FAFO coming your way.
Just like Tulsi Gabbard, man. Her whole position's, sweet revenge.
So there you have it. And, that's what I got for news this segment there, David.
All right, we're back to wrap it up on a Tuesday night right after this.
This is our last chance to help save thousands of Holocaust survivors who are suffering in the former Soviet Union today. The needs that these forgotten Jews have are something beyond anything you can imagine.
Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, so I ate half of it yesterday, and I had it today for breakfast. And this is what she ate in 2 days, 1 carrot. Please pray for me.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews began this ministry to help elderly Jews living in horrible poverty around the world. We urgently need your gift of $25 now to help provide 1 survival food box with all of the foods they critically need for their diet for 1 month.
I am very proud to partner and align with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. This trusted ministry is giving Christians like me a way to bless elderly Jewish people who live in extreme poverty around the world.
I believe in God, but I sometimes feel maybe He forgot me. Perhaps you could tell my story, and I would find a matching soul that would understand. I face hunger again.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now to help rush 1 survival food box to a Holocaust survivor who is suffering and in desperate need.
This is what God wants from us. Just feed the hungry.
If you hear God's voice, I'm asking you to act now. Do it when it's on your heart. I pray that they'll know in their final months that they're not alone.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can hack your information without you even knowing. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash protected. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from stealing your info. It's ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. With the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to fit your additional cards and cash. Call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-608-4172. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-4172 now.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you've been in. Slick's been doing sports. Delgado and Vin been doing the news. Aaron and Fran been holding it down. As always, please welcome to the show the CEO of Brick House Nutrition, Miles Grimard. Miles, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Great to be back on. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. How are you?
Very, very good. Monday was, of course, St. Patrick's Day, and going green, of course, partying on St. Patrick's Day. But you guys have Field of Greens. For those who don't know, can you tell me about what Field of Greens is?
Yeah, Field of Greens, really, it's fruit and vegetable product that we at Brick House, we have the best doctors in the industry, and we had them go out and find all the best fruits and vegetables to kind of turn into a powder that help each part of your body, whether it's your liver, kidneys, skin, metabolism. And it's really the first and only product right now that is, it's technically a food. So unlike our competitors that are made from extracts, Field of Greens is actually sold as food. So it's safe for the whole family and very healthy for you. I mean, a lot of people know you need your fruits and vegetables. You've heard that your whole life, and it's an easy way to assist with it.
And of course, Brick House Nutrition this week, of course, because of St. Patty's Day, announced the huge sale on it. Save 30% with promo code LUCK, L-U-C-K. That's at fieldofgreens.com, fieldofgreens.com, fieldofgreens.com. Why do you think people like Field of Greens so much? Is there one particular thing that you hear back from people who try it and stick with it that they like about it, or is it a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, well, it's the way it makes them feel, number one, but two is the flavor. And the way it really came to be was someone came to our doctors and us and said, what I'm taking right now it tastes horrible. So can you guys do something? And our doctors realized that the other products on the market were just kind of, they didn't really do anything for you. The efficacy was horrible. And so that's what really spurred on Field of Greens. And we made a bunch of different flavors so that people, with different flavor palettes and taste buds can get the benefits of having all those fruits and vegetables in their daily drink.
And of course, Rick Delgado, who does the news here on the show, of course, was a client of yours even before you started appearing here on the show.
Yes.
And you do Field of Greens as well.
I got the Field of Greens. I have the, a lemon lime flavor is probably my favorite. But yeah, it's awesome, and it tastes great. It goes down easy, and like he said, it's not like a supplement. It's actually something that's a food, and you definitely feel the difference because you know me. I like to hit the gym. I like to ride my bike, and I don't have time to grab all the fruits and vegetables that you need to kind of keep yourself fueled. And this stuff works great, and I can mix it with my drinks when I ride my bike as well.
There you go. And Miles, the sale going on. How long is this sale going to go on for? Right now, 30% off.
It's going on through tomorrow, the 19th. So 30% off if you use promo code LUCK. Sticking with the St. Patty's Day theme here, and yeah, 30% off, and go to fieldofgreens.com. We're it's going crazy with the customers, so it's a big sale for us.
All right, Field of Greens, all one word, fieldofgreens.com. Go check it out. Use promo code LUCK. And, have enough of it, and you can look like Delgado, too. So there you go. Miles, always like having you on the show. Thanks for a few minutes.
Oh, thank you so much for the time. I love talking to the audience and you guys.
There you go. Fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code LUCK. All right, let's quickly try to get to everybody. Slick, anything else in sports we need to hit?
Quick sweep of the scoreboard. Big D update on that final first four playing now. North Carolina leading 27-13 over San Diego State. They look like they're getting tarred and feathered by the Tar Heels right now, the Aztecs. 9-17 to go in the first, though. Plenty of time for a comeback, but tough start. Alabama State did win and advance into the playoffs, into March Madness, Big D, into the championship round. Alabama State 70-68 over St. Francis, PA. And the Islanders came back down 2-0 against the Penguins with a 4-2 win, their second comeback in 3 nights. So looking good there. Rangers lost to the Flames 2-1 in the Garden. Canadians bombed beat the Senators 6-3, and the Caps over the Red Wings 4-1. Those are finals. That's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Vinnie Mac, anything else on your radar you want to touch on?
I do. Anti-Semitism. The epidemic of anti-Semitism.
Josh Hammer on the show tomorrow night, by the way. Not speaking of anti-Semitism, but it just reminded me his brand new book about Israel is out today. I think it's number 3 on Amazon. It reached Josh Hammer's new book. He'll be on tomorrow night to discuss it. And everybody who's read it, I do not have a copy of it yet, says it is absolutely brilliant. Well, Josh is brilliant, so it's got to be brilliant. He'll be on tomorrow night to discuss it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that discussion. You know, anti-Semitism is racism. The left somehow is appalled by racism, but they seem to be okay with anti-Semitism. The hatred of Jews, essentially. And I don't understand it. It's all through our colleges now. There was an undercover reporter, an influencer, who went into Barnard. Was it Barnard? Yeah, Barnard College, and was talking to people about it. And they're like, you know, I'm gay, but I'm for Hamas and I'm for Palestine. I'm this or that. He's like thinking, you know, you would be killed, you know, if you expressed yourself in these places. But I say anti-Semitism for a reason, because I feel like Israel finally did what they need to do now to settle this thing. Hamas has not released the hostages. Trump's put pressure on them. Israel's put pressure. They've tried to negotiate. They've tried all of these things. We have anti-Semitism popping up everywhere. It's all over Europe. It's all over this country with all these progressive left-wingers. So what did Israel do just the other day? Or I think it was today. They took out the top Hamas leader, the guy they were negotiating with, the guy who they were talking to about releasing these hostages. They finally said enough. The barbaric acts of these people, and they are barbarians. This did not. I even shudder to call them human. They're barbarians. What they did to these people. Israel. I don't want the hostages to die. Everybody wants them to live. We've seen how horrible they treat them, but enough's enough. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
Take them out. Take the leadership out, and take Iran out. They have to now, at risk of the lives of the hostages, because they're not coming back. There's no peace deal. These hostages are like giant pieces of gold for Hamas, and they're just going to let little things, little trinkets of them go out. They're not going to let them out. They're going to use this as far as they can. So I give kudos to Israel for finally doing something that I think they needed to do and start taking out the leadership in a big way. They took the Top Gun out. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah. All right. Vinnie Mac, thank you. Rick Delgado, anything else on your news plate?
Yeah, one thing. I remember I reported yesterday that President Trump pulled the Secret Service protection for Ashley Biden as well as Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Well, this is maybe they didn't tell Hunter, but this is how he woke up to find out that, hey, where did everybody go? Here's cut number 7. Here's Hunter Biden experiencing what it's like now not to have your 13 Secret Service agents at your disposal. He can't find them. He doesn't know what to do. Looks like he just woke up from a bender.
What is this?
Whoa. Hunter Biden. He's in South Africa.
Is that where he is?
Yeah.
What is this video of him looking for what?
I guess he's making a statement like, look, I'm all alone now. I don't have Secret Service protection.
Okay.
So there you have it.
All right, very good.
Couldn't happen.
Quite a statement.
Couldn't happen to a nicer cokehead.
Delgado, before we leave,
yes,
I want to end the show where we started it, of course, as we discussed Elon Musk and the astronauts returning to Earth, splashed down in the Gulf of America. Bad day for the Democrats to watch all of that. But Delgado had a theory.
Yes.
On what was going on there. And, well, I want to end the show by saying, Delgado, I've decided that you may be correct.
Ooh. Wait a second. Are you okay?
I know. I want to feel
Aaron?
his head.
Look at this picture that they just discovered.
Oh man.
Yeah, I knew there were MAGA dolphins.
Make America have a porpoise again.
Oh, that's great.
As always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines.
I told you they went too far.
Oh, yeah.
Have a porpoise again.
Have a great rest of your night, everybody. Thanks, everybody, on the show. Aaron Fran, great job as always. Most of all, thank you to Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night. 8 o'clock, live from Studio 6B.
Spouting off.
Are you sitting right now, it could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to help